Today, Vice President J.D. Vance filled in for Charlie Kirk on his show in the noon hour on Rumble. And it was an amazing show with many interviews. And in it, near the end, J.D. Vance says there will be no unity with those who are celebrating the death, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He wanted to describe this problem among many Democrats, but not all, he says, but many, where they scream vitriol, celebrate death, call for more assassinations, and indeed, they still are. And not just that. After it became apparent that Charlie Kirk was particularly beloved nationally, with football teams, baseball teams offering moments of silence in his honor, the left changed their narrative. With many prominent liberals remaining silent out of fear, they began to emerge saying, in fact, it was Nick Fuentes and the Groypers who killed Charlie Kirk for, in fact, not being far-right enough. Even now, Axios is debunking these lies from prominent, mainstream, middle-of-the-road Democrat personalities. And that is the scary thing about what we are seeing. You see, they say the right is responsible for all the violence. The right is much more dangerous, they go on TV and say. But here's what they're doing. They're saying that some crackpot white supremacist who lives in the woods is the same thing as Charlie Kirk, when in fact, Charlie Kirk would denounce in 2 seconds and in fact preached a race-neutral country and even called black children a gift from God. But they'll lie. They'll say Charlie was also a white supremacist, therefore all of the right is bad. Now in the inverse, mainstream moderate liberals are defending the suspected shooter, obfuscating his ideology, covering it up, and lying about the engravings on the bullets because they realize they actually support this. It seems the motivation for the shooter may be transgender ideology. At least that's what 6 independent sources, according to Axios, have stated. That he was a lover, that his lover was trans, and that was probably the motivator. The governor says he was leftist, radicalized. He was an ideologue. Mainstream Democrats support gender ideology, and it appears this was the motivation for the killing. That is, this individual, the suspect in question right now, Kash Patel, says he's confessed on Discord. This individual is closer to mainstream Democrat than many people want to believe. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we've got many more stories. Some of them are particularly brutal. We've got one of a liberal who effectively states, well, actually, I'll give you the quote. A prominent liberal streamer, Destiny, said, if you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, he says, I'm sorry, I got to make sure I get this right. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Trump should not have been president in the second term. He's telling you, if you go and vote for who you think should be president, you should expect to die. You should expect your friends to die, your leaders to die. And it's your fault. That's what he's saying. That's how insane it is getting in this country. So we're going to talk about that. Sorry for making this one a bit longer, but we've got a lot of stories to break through in terms of what's going on with this investigation, this story. And did you guys know that 2 men were caught trying to plant a bomb on a Fox News truck in Utah? It's getting crazy out there.
Utah's crazy.
Now, before we get started, my friends, we got some great sponsors. We've got Venice.ai. You know, in times like this, you need an AI system you can trust not to censor what you're looking for. And Venice AI is not going to censor nor store your private details. While many of these other AI platforms, they're going to give you political answers or use Reddit, I kid you not, as their source material. Sam Altman said ChatGPT will get to know your every life. ChatGPT is the former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now. Edward Snowden called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. I'm not going to name the device, but it's owned by Amazon. It listens to us. It recommends products based on our conversations. Meta retargets us based on our browsing and engagement history. Why do we assume AI is going to be any different? Venice utilizes leading open source AI models to deliver text, code, and image generation to your web browser. No downloads, no installations or anything. It's just Venice.ai. Private and permissionless. They don't spy on you or censor the AI. Messages are encrypted and your conversation history is stored only in your browser. AI can be extremely valuable, but we shouldn't need to give up our privacy to use it. So I recommend Venice Pro Plan. The Pro Plan unlocks the full platform and features including PDF uploads, summaries, or insights, the ability to turn off safe mode for unhindered image generation, the ability to change how Venice interacts with you by modifying the system prompt, limitless text, and high image limits. So check out Venice.ai/Tim. You can get 20% off the Pro plan. And I will stress this. I know a lot of people, when you hear that it's unfiltered, uncensored images, they think naughty things. We're not talking about that even. We're talking about perhaps you want to make an image of a politician, or not even a crazy one. Just maybe you want to make a picture of Donald Trump riding a bicycle. Many of these AIs won't let you do it. They outright censor that, say no. So check out venice.ai/Tim. And thanks for sponsoring the show. We also have Alio Capital. Have you noticed, my friends, how confusing and divided the world feels these days? Whether it's politics, money, or just daily life, the truth is a lot of this comes down to not really understanding how the money world works. Finally, there's a tool to make things clear. I want to tell you about the Alio Capital app. It is ALLIO. It's built by people who really get how global events affect your money. Imagine an app that keeps an eye on things like inflation and interest rates, stuff that actually changes what's in your pocket, and then automatically tweaks your investments so you don't have to stress about it. It's smart, it's easy, and it works for you whether you want to get hands-on or just set it and forget it. It's great having something that breaks down big picture stuff into steps you understand. If you want to feel a little less in the dark about your finances, just check out the Alio app in the App Store or Google Play, or even simpler, text TIM to 511511. That's ALLIO Capital. Text TIM to 511511 to see what it's about. Just remember, every investment has its risks. Nothing's a sure thing, but I really think Alio makes understanding and growing money a whole lot easier. Standard text fees applies. This is a paid advertisement. And shout out to our sponsors. Guys, we, for obvious reasons, didn't do sponsor reads in the back half of last week because I just said, we're not. Okay? Charlie was a friend, and this news was extremely pressing. That being said, there is a challenge in how we move forward as people, as professionals, as news and commentary individuals, and with running a business and having contracts and all that. Recognize we're going to try and get back to our daily routine while still honoring Charlie's legacy and reporting the details about what has happened so far. So, my friends, smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more is Slow Jack.
What's going on? What's going on, people? Thanks for having me on. I feel like overdressed, my cap on. Everyone else is looking nice in the black t-shirts. Black. Actually, you got the suit on, mate. Like that. Looking good, mate. Yeah. Look like the penguin out here, dog. Hello, you know.
Taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Well, who are you? What do you do?
I make music. Where do I look? Do I look at the camera? Do I look at any? Just look around? I'll look up there. What's going on, people? I'm Slow Jack. I make music for a living, but online, I'm known for just saying stuff, talking shit, basically. In an Aussie accent, just being funny, mate. That's basically it. Thanks for having me on.
Right on. Tate.
Cool, man.
Tate, the producer, is here.
What's going on, everybody? Tate Brown here. Happy to be here.
I'm Shane Cashman, and I think Destiny needs an exorcism. Tonight at 10, I'll be going live with Inverted World Live. I'm going to be talking about the American death cult, terror cells, accelerationism, gleeful demons, and after all that, I probably get into how NASA has banned Chinese nationals and alien life form that might be going out of a meteorite.
Dude, on my new YouTube channel, which is at Tim Pool, I made a video called "It's Time to Bring Back Exorcisms."
Yes,
and it's actually it's a small channel. It's brand new. It's got like 35,000 subs, but it's 60,000 views already in the video with everyone being like, "Yep."
Yeah, you can't deny it. There's evil
ghouls
everywhere.
There's ghouls.
Everywhere,
ghouls around. You see them. See them walking around the street, mate.
I tend to think that Destiny needs law enforcement. Personally.
Yeah, I think exorcism plus law enforcement.
There you
How's
go.
that?
So dressed like that, you should be the one doing it.
I'm ready.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
Here's the news from PBS.org. J.D. Vance says national unity is impossible with those celebrating Charlie Kirk's killing. Vice President Vance said Monday while hosting Charlie Kirk's radio show that he is desperate for national unity after the conservative political activist's killing, but that finding common ground with people who celebrated the assassination of his friend is impossible. The Republican vice president filled in as host of the Charlie Kirk Show from his ceremonial office in the Eisenhower Executive Office Building next to the White House. The live stream of the 2-hour program was broadcast in the White House press briefing room and featured a series of appearances by White House and administrative officials who knew the 31-year-old Kirk. Vance, who transported Kirk's body home from Utah to Arizona aboard Air Force Two last week, opened by saying that he was filling in for somebody who cannot be filled in for, but I'll do my best. In his closing remarks, Vance criticized what he said were lies about Kirk that he blamed for the killing. He also promised that the Trump administration will act to stop anyone who will kill another person because of their words. I'm desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I'll tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable. Well, here's the challenge, Mr. Vice President, with all due respect. I do agree. There are many prominent middle-of-the-road liberals associated with prominent mainstream liberal organizations who have been putting out lies. they've been making little comic strips, flooding the internet with lies to trick the left and liberals, the moderates, that the assassin of Charlie Kirk was a groyper. They are framing Nick Fuentes. And I think their strategy was Nick Fuentes is kind of a boogeyman even to conservatives. So if they blame him, conservatives will just say, okay, which is not the case. No one's going to do that. That's not true. And there's even an article from Axios debunking the lies. What we believe to be true as of now, according to Kash Patel, the governor of Utah, Axios is reporting with 6 individual sources. Mind you, the media has no problem reporting things with a single anonymous source, but this time they have 6, saying the motivation for the assassination likely was the shooter's transgender lover. And the left is lying about it. So when J.D. Vance tries to be diplomatic, and I respect it, saying we can't have unity with those that are celebrating the assassination of Kirk, my question then becomes, and for everyone here is, can we have unity with those that are lying to cover up the assassin's motive to justify the killing of Charlie Kirk?
No unity. It's so refreshing seeing J.D. Vance say this because
It's badass.
the line from the GOP, or not the entire GOP, but from a lot of GOP ratchets, like right off the rip was, guys, peace and unity, let's all come together. Like this is a battle between good and evil. And it was very vague. It was not precise whatsoever.
Yep.
So it's so refreshing that Trump and Vance have gotten up here and straightened out everyone's rhetoric here because it's like, okay, sure, good and evil. That's downstream from left versus right. That's exactly what's going on here. One side is evil and has demonstrated that we should be killed for our beliefs. And then the other side is just saying, let's have a debate. So it's just so refreshing to see this because, I mean, there were so many senators and congressmen that came out and did the whole peace and unity rhetoric. And it's like just not precise and not poignant to what's going on at all.
All that stuff's out the window at that point, mate. You see, people like, oh, but what about coming together? It's like, mate, people are dead. People have been shot. And I just look at it. I just don't understand how we even got here. And mate, I don't get upset much, man. But like, just as a dude, I don't like seeing people get shot and I just don't understand why it's such a conundrum, mate. They've just demonstrated that they're done with us, and if they want people like Charlie gone, imagine what they want for someone who's got similar beliefs like you or me or whatever.
Well, this is an important point. Charlie Kirk was a moderate, traditional conservative. What do you think that means for everybody else?
Well, he was the guy who wanted to have a conversation. They took out the guy, the only true guy. Well, there were many, but he's the main guy. Just wanted to talk, mate. He went straight to the uni, straight to the colleges, whatever you call them. We call them unis, but he went straight to the source, mate, like a boss, like a rock star, mate.
And with all due respect to Milo Yiannopoulos, who acknowledges he's not the nice guy. Milo did his college tours, and he was snooty and snarky and snapped back at these people.
Yeah.
Charlie told some, he didn't insult these people. He would say, God bless you and I love you.
Mm-hmm. See that tweet where it was like, you took out the nice guy, now you got Milo.
I would love to see Milo return to the college tour. We asked him to do it.
Oh, he
went, I'm 40.
40.
It's worth pointing out though, like because there are people on the left that are going to try to act as if what Vice President Vance said was blanket statement about the whole left and all of the Democrats. Yeah. And he was, like you said, he was precise. He specifically was talking about the far left, the crazies, and he did acknowledge there are Democrats that are not out of their mind. There are Democrats that do not endorse violence and stuff. And so it's worth pointing that out only because there are going to be people, and you're seeing it on X all day long. Vance has done this. Vance, blah, blah, blah. Vance, how terrible, how terrible. He did call for unity with normal Democrats, but the people that are actually celebrating his murder, the people that are saying let's start lists of other conservatives, this is a good thing.
That's a lot of people. That's not 5 dudes.
I agree.
That's like.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and that's why it's so. I think why so many people are so shocked about the response. But like I said, I think it's important that we acknowledge that, or at least point out, Vance was not talking about all Democrats, and he made that distinction clear.
The thing is, they've mainstreamed political bloodlust since COVID.
Yes.
I mean, your neighbors started looking at you as a monster in 2020 during lockdowns. They wanted you to die. They were like, "We're not going to give you care if you don't get the thing we want you to take."
Yeah.
So it's just like the culmination
They
of a
want
lot of
to
that.
destroy your life. Yeah,
We're seeing this, and we're seeing people get fired from their jobs. And I think J.D. Vance may even had made mention to that I don't want to misquote him, so I'm not going to try and paraphrase, but I don't care. These people, these liberals are coming out and saying, oh no, right-wing cancel culture. And my attitude is, I agreed with the left when they said there are certain things that you can't say in public. The problem was they were pushing the line like they were forwarding the line like they were running across a football field full speed.
Yeah, no.
And so people were getting swept up and being told that things they had said 10 years ago were unacceptable today, even though they didn't say it today, and getting fired from their jobs. I have no problem saying at any point, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or today, if you go to your job and start yelling about how you're glad someone got killed because they deserved it while you cackle like a fiend, if the boss said, you're making people uncomfortable, you need to leave, I would have said, yeah, that's insane.
It's reasonable. It's not digging up a tweet from 12 years ago saying you said something insensitive when you were 13 or playing Xbox with a recording of you walking down the street. It's someone going to work like, yeah.
If you have a soul,
like, you don't want to have anyone like that around work. Do you? Working at McDonald's, you don't want that serving you a burger, mate.
But like even worse than that, I think if you have a soul, you have to understand that the people who are celebrating this and dancing on his grave, they need to be removed from society. Like if they're teaching your kid, they can't be involved with your kid's education. If they're in charge of your healthcare, they can't be in charge of your healthcare. Like that's insane.
Doctors and teachers everywhere, mate.
There's that article from a teacher in Canada showing fifth graders the video.
Yep.
You know, that's a lot like what happened in the Cultural Revolution when they would drag people out into the public square in China and make children watch decapitations and make the children sing the Chinese national anthem while the heads rolled from the bodies.
I've never heard of that.
It's gross stuff.
And you know what I think is one of the terrifying, there's a tweet that I saw. I remember when the war with Israel and Iran broke out, and there was all the planes and the air traffic was going around Israel and Iran, that whole area. Mm-hmm. And then one UAE flight went straight over. And then the joke someone tweeted was, I deleted all of my social media. I deleted all my social media. And honestly, my mental health has never been better. And they're flying straight over Iran. We get the point. It's not, yes, ignorance is bliss. And someone tweeted in reference to the story, if you delete your social media, you won't see it when they come to kill you. Mm-hmm. And that's actually kind of terrifying because what we are seeing, this was in response to all of the people posting, they want you dead. And not just that, lists have been made with many names. My name is on many of those lists, as well as many other conservative commentators.
Docs lists and all that stuff.
Docs lists, addresses, and they're saying them next. There's videos of people saying, why just him? Go for the rest now. I'm waiting. There's just too many of these.
Oh, mate, they're saying you can look up the word next please, on Twitter, and you can see a list of people who people calling for. I think it's disgusting, mate. How's this been made mainstream? Just death.
They've been conditioned by their media diet.
You said,
because
like saying, conditioning
the institutions are controlled by their allies and never censored or shut them down. The right doesn't do this. The mainstream right, traditional conservatives, what did Charlie Kirk say? Race-neutral country. Your race isn't what matters. Yep. Your ideas and your willingness to work. So what do? Mehdi Hassan tweeted out a page of out-of-context quotes from Charlie Kirk to justify why he's dead, saying that he was a bigot and a racist. Now, of course, he'll tell you, oh, no, I'm not trying to justify that he's dead. But we know that's exactly what they're doing. Because there's no reason to lie about someone in such a dramatic way. Yeah. But the reality is, Charlie Kirk was nice. He did not believe these psychotic things they're lying about. He never said black women didn't have brain processing power. They made that up. They're doing that because someone whose ideology is aligned with the mainstream Democrat Party. That is, the important thing is, people keep saying this guy was a leftist. Wrong answer. I won't call him a leftist. This guy was liberal aligned. He was left aligned. Why? What are leftists? Antifa marching through the street with masks on, screaming anticapitalista. It's fringe stuff, right? J.D. Vance said it was fringe stuff. Well, who is this guy? As far as we can tell, the only motivating factor was gender ideology, which, of course, is an ideology aligned with every single Democrat in Congress. Mm-hmm. Yes. This is not fringe. This is on television. This is on, what channel was it where they had I Am Jazz? Where the mother talked about waking up her son in the middle of the night who has a surgical graft in his abdomen that she jams a device into? TLC. Was it TLC? I'm not entirely sure, so I'll be careful. But that is on television. Yeah. That is on television. So this person is motivated to kill Charlie Kirk because his lover, his boyfriend, is a male who identifies as trans, and that's what investigators are saying, I think people need to wake up that as much as J.D. Vance is saying this is fringe, the ideology that motivated this is sitting right now with every single Democrat in Congress. And I'm not saying every single Democrat wants to hurt anybody or is advocating for this. I'm saying this ideology is universal on the left.
There's states that will abduct your child if you don't affirm their gender BS.
That's right. There are states that allow strangers to kidnap your children. And if they bring them, I believe it's in the Pacific Northwest, if a man takes your 13-year-old child from your home anywhere in the country and brings them to that state for a sex change, they cannot be prosecuted.
It's insane.
That's why it's such a mistake for this line that some people are taking where they're like, oh, he's clearly mentally ill or he was clearly radicalized. It's like, just flip on any leftist stream. You're going to see there's a huge social incentive for, I'm not going to say violence, but certainly hate. I mean, full-blown hatred towards these types of people. And Exhibit A.
Yeah. Let's listen. Earlier today, Piers Morgan uploaded a debate with several personalities, including Jack Posobiec, Anna Kasparian, Andrew Wilson, and who else? Who was on it? Cornel West. He stormed off in rage, refusing to have a dialogue. So Piers Morgan decided to bring on Destiny, a liberal streamer, who states, and I quote, "If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Trump should not have been president in the second term." And I'll play that video for you right now.
Cornel West for now. Maybe we'll get him back. Well, Andrew Wilson referred to Destiny's insane tweets a little earlier, which were disavowed by Anna Kasparian. Well, Destiny joins us now. Destiny, you've been quite active on social media since Charlie Kirk's death. When Erica Kirk posted Charlie's coffin, you responded, she tagged him, brackets, crying face emojis. In response to Alina Haber's tweet ordering people to fly their flags at half-mast in memory of Charlie, you posted on X buying flags and poles just to fly them fully erect. And you then posted yesterday, ending every conservative debate call out I'd do in 2026 with "Don't dodge, bro. That's not what Charlie would have wanted." I mean, do you think that your response to the cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk has been appropriate?
Yes. I think that the only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side.
This is insane.
We are 10 years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. All of the recent political violence that's happened in this country over the past 20 years, the majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, everybody gets mad because they keep asking Grok about it, has been conservative.
Who shot Charlie Kirk?
A guy from Utah who was raised in a Christian family. Who was a 22-year-old
A guy
white
described.
dude. He wasn't trans. He didn't have a
Destiny.
trans girlfriend. He didn't have any trans influences. He didn't have any trans bullets. Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys were wrong on all.
He's lying.
Yeah,
But the most important takeaway from that, and I'll show you a bit of this debunking it, how Charlie Kirk's killing sparked unfounded theories about groypers. Here's the New York Times. Kirk shooting suspect held leftist ideology, Utah governor says. And the only thing he can say is, you were wrong about that. You were wrong. But the most important takeaway from what he said was, if you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Trump should not have been president in the second term. 7 of the biggest protests were under Trump, most of the political violence. What he is saying is obvious to anyone who has ears, and he is saying it in a way to exploit legal loopholes. Because what he's not legally allowed to say, or I would argue that he crosses the line into potentially being sought after for criminal charges, is if he said, and if he were to express that he or others would kill people who vote conservative, that's when he gets in trouble. But when he says it in this way, what is he saying? By you voting for Donald Trump, a leftist killed Charlie Kirk, and maybe you shouldn't have voted for Trump. If you didn't want the left to protest, the biggest protests and the mass rioting that we saw in 2020, maybe you shouldn't have voted for Trump. But who was doing it all? The left. And that's the threat he's giving you. In fact, There's another video. How about I play this one for you?
Exactly like
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to
Endorsing
events
terrorism.
so that they look to their leadership to turn
Guy
down the
sucks,
temperature.
man.
The issue is right
That is
now.
idiocy.
Guys, we can't hear when you talk over what they're saying.
not exactly like
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. The issue is right now, they don't feel like there's any fear. Like, I don't know. It's like memes. It's just memes to everybody, I guess. I don't know.
That's a lie. And that's all he does is lie, because as the late David Graeber stated, the left 10 years ago adopted the fascistic ethos, quote, there is no truth but power. So when Destiny goes on Piers Morgan today and says there was no trans boyfriend, it's all made up, and we actually have, here you go, FBI investigating social media accounts that appeared to indicate foreknowledge of Kirk Assassination, and they are all transgender-aligned accounts and in transgender forums saying we effing did it. And you have numerous reports, even the DOJ saying that this person was left in line with a trans boyfriend, and even the New York Times reporting Governor Spencer Cox, who has been heavily criticized by the right for actually being pro-left. But we'll get into more of this and the evidence breaking this down. The point is, this argument that they're making right now is that Destiny didn't really mean that. He's saying, no, you should fear the death, not actually get shot. That's a lie. He celebrated the death of Corey Comparator. He mocked it and made fun of it. I'll tell you this. When he says the right doesn't fear any of this stuff, it's a fabrication, and I can tell you how I know this. Without naming any of the prominent conservative personalities, I can tell you that many of them that I personally know have 24-hour security details that cost millions of dollars per year, and they have to sleep with 4 men surrounding their home every single night. And when I've gone and met with these people, I've had to we would go out for food and there's 4 guys surrounding us all the time. In fact, I have armed guards. And now as we're planning a trip, as I mentioned, I'll be in Austin soon. We are contemplating how much is in our budget for armed security to be transporting me around. Destiny is lying. He is creating terror intentionally. His statements are meant to be clear. Charlie Kirk died because Trump won the presidency because you voted for who you want to. What he's saying is, this will continue. The left will be violent. They will kill again unless you stop and surrender and let them do whatever they want.
It's just terrorism. He's endorsing terrorism. He's saying that people should be afraid of being killed because of their politics. That is what terrorism is. It's not some kind of big convoluted concept. When you say, I believe that violence should be used, and I endorse using violence to modify people's political expression, that is terrorism. And it's exactly what Destiny's saying. He should get a visit from the FBI. And I think that if they decide or they find that he should go to trial. And if he is, he should be put in jail.
Yeah, well, and look, it's very careful what Destiny's saying here, where he's saying the right needs to learn to stop turning up the temperature. Okay, how exactly was Charlie Kirk turning up the temperature? Just having conservative beliefs?
One more thing to that point. There has never in any society, there has never been a situation where people are given, like when terrorism is used, and the response from the people has been to go to their leaders and say, give in to the terrorists. That's what he's saying. He's saying we need to turn up the heat on the conservatives so they'll go to Donald Trump and say, Donald Trump, you need to do things, and other Republicans, you need to do things that turn the temperature down. That has never worked in human history, ever. The response will be what I've said, which is use the force of government to put those people that would use terror into effing jail forever.
Let's put this into context, what he's saying. The Republicans need to go to Trump and tell Trump to turn things down. Charlie Kirk never advocated for violence, never insulted people based on race. They have lied about him every step of the way. He sought debate. He let anyone debate him, and he was shot in the neck by a man. And you know what? I'll do this. I will give you the lightest, nonpartisan approach I can to the assessment we have on the shooter and his motivation. Axios reports 2 days ago, or I'm sorry, this is yesterday. First posted, I think it was just almost 2 days ago. Kirk investigators, aghast transgender roommate may lead to motive. Axios reporting this. This is not a conservative organization. And they said, authorities are investigating whether Tyler Robinson, suspected of killing Kirk, believed Kirk's views on gender identity were hateful to people like Robinson's transgender roommate. 6 sources familiar with the case tell Axios. So this is first and foremost. What they are saying is, what we don't know if gender ideology was the motivating factor. What we do know is this individual, at the bare minimum, lived with a trans person. So forgive me if I say groypers don't live with trans people. That is a ridiculous fabrication. And here we are from Axios. How Charlie Kirk's killing sparked unfounded theories about groypers. And prominent mainstream liberals were running this lie. They also ran a lie where they claimed that the bullet engravings reported by Crowder and the Wall Street Journal said TRN, and that was simply the manufacturer's stamp. It was a lie. Total fabrication. The bullet, in fact, said, "Hey, fascist, catch." Destiny's rebuttal on the show was that wasn't the bullet he was shot with, which is a meaningless distinction. It was in the magazine. And so I don't understand what his point is supposed to be, other than some are saying that Destiny's life has been ruined for some time. His family hates him. His kid hates him. And that he is doing these things intentionally to destroy his own life. And that may be the case. Now, the reason I bring that up is because the reason they're saying this is don't blame all liberals for a man who is intentionally destroying his own life through rage and addiction or whatever it is he's doing. Perhaps.
On some level, I like that he says this publicly so we know what the face of evil looks like. And also, who bailed out the arsonists in 2020? Who ignored David Dorn getting shot in the head? You know, it was like the left was cheering on all of that destruction.
Aaron Danielson shot in the chest by Michael Reinhold walking down the street in Portland.
Children getting shot at different Chaz locations.
Yep.
Well, so, I'll just point this out real quick. New York Post. Charlie Kirk assassination suspect had furry fixation and his trans boyfriend proclaimed support for Biden on social media. It is fascinating to me that Destiny, he knows he's lying. They all know they're lying. As I pointed out already, unfounded theories about groypers. These Democrats have been lying incessantly. Now, something I've shown, I was showing all throughout the day, and I want to pull this up for you guys. Let me see if I can find this one. I've played it like on every single
I hope everyone's
show I
reading
did today.
John Dutoit's tweet up there.
Yeah. I just don't like that guy's face, mate, that Destiny bloke. That's the reason why there's got that cuck chair in the corner of them hotels, mate. I mean, like...
He's a possessed Muppet.
Here we go. I'm going to play this. Nice. I'm going to play this video for you guys in this context. Here you go.
So, hi. I haven't spoken about the Charlie Kirk murder until now because we didn't know anything. And since my channel was created not to report the news but to make sense of it, I felt like the only responsible thing to do was to wait until there was more information. It now appears that the person who shot and killed right-wing political commentator Charlie Kirk was like the majority of shooters in America, a young white male from a conservative pro-gun religious background.
Now let's just pause real quick and break down the manipulation technique she used. We call this assumptive reasoning or assumptive language. That is to say something that will trick someone into assuming the statement is connected or to assume an output. That is, he came from a conservative background. She is hoping that you will then assume he held those same views. There's a bunch of ways the media does this. One of my favorite things, one of my favorite techniques they use would be like this. I spoke with Shane Cashman. In a conversation, I was told that he hates vanilla ice cream. Now, it sounds like what I'm saying is I talked to Shane and Shane says he doesn't want to eat vanilla. No, that's not what I said. There's a period there. In a conversation. That was a totally different conversation. What do you mean? What are you talking about? I never said that. And that's the game they play. Now, the reality is, we know this guy. It's reported by law enforcement, media, numerous journalists that have investigated this, people who have talked to the shooter's friends and family. He was left aligned. She says more.
After being told for 2 straight days that the left had declared war on America, that the shooter was most likely trans, or in Congresswoman Nancy Mace's words, pro-tranny. After the Wall Street Journal published an article they had to later walk back that the bullets had a pro-trans message because it turned out to be just the markings of one of the world's biggest ammunition factories.
Absolute abject lie.
Yes, mate.
And there's no way she doesn't know that because they did a press conference and there were numerous reports on this. What she is basing her worldview off of is random anonymous Twitter accounts that were posting images of bullet casings with TRN for Turin on the bottom. And she ran with the lie without fact checking, either because she is developmentally disabled, which I don't think so. I think she is intentionally and willfully lying to obfuscate the motives of the assassin, who is closer to mainstream Democrat than anyone wants to admit, even liberals. At first, they celebrated until the Yankees did a memorial, a moment of silence, until the Cowboys. I think most NFL teams now apparently had...
It's just four that didn't. It was only
four that didn't.
I don't know which ones, but it was just the four. I think it was all of them, basically, except the four of them, yeah.
In Vegas.
Yeah.
Some of the casinos on their marquees in memory of Charlie Kirk. And when the liberals realized Charlie Kirk was a moderate, beloved by most people, Chris Pratt has spoken out. Bill Maher has spoken out. Jamie Kennedy, I think. I just saw him. Comedian.
Yeah,
Mick Jagger.
That was great.
Mick Jagger did.
Yep, he did.
The left began to panic when they realized they're on the wrong side of history. So they're trying to change the narrative. And they are playing dirty, evil, psychotic games to do it, but we will expose them.
Changing history, mate. There
Well,
you
you've
go.
seen a few times on Twitter where they'll come out and they'll say, "Oh, it was a groyper that did it," and then you press them and you say, "Well, you're changing this because you know this is completely indefensible action that took place," and they'll say, "Well, no, actually, it was his rhetoric that got him." So it's like they can't even decide on what their narrative is. It's just absolutely insane.
They fight with each other on it too. Like you see,
Yeah.
they're still fighting the position of whether it's a moral thing to do. You see, half of them are going, "Oh, he didn't deserve to die," and half of them are like, "Yeah, he did because he said this," and then they're collapsing on themselves. There's a reason why they can't make a meaningful political movement, because they can't even come together for any sort of length of time that's meaningful at all. You look at it. You just, no, you go. No, you're right. You're right.
I was going to say the ironic thing is that when these leftists come out and say, Charlie Kirk preached hate, so he deserved it, they're holding up a giant bullseye over their own faces. And that's why we tell them not to do this. The logic that these people are espousing is if Charlie did deserve it, they're basically saying they do too.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is the whole time, several years, Destiny says no one in the mainstream conservative movement will call for the temperature to be put down, to go down. Literally every single mainstream conservative, every day. Literally every day.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk himself, Jack, me, we're always saying, guys, we don't want violence, even in the wake of Charlie Kirk's killing. On the day of, with tears in my eyes, as well as many others, we said cooler heads must prevail and we do not want violence. Yep. But no matter how many times we beg and say stop, the left doesn't. And you know what they do? They create fake NGOs. Well, they're real NGOs, mind you. And they do this really clever thing that the right isn't smart enough to do. So how about we do this right now? I'm going to create an organization, and we're going to call it let's call it the Mittaloop Institution. And we're going to call it the premier surveying and study group for the United States. Then we're going to put out a report where we say 97% of all violence is caused by the far left. Then we're going to disseminate that to newspapers who will publish it as fact and say new study reveals far left responsible for 97% of violence. And then when you trace it back to its source, you find out it is a leftist aligned nonprofit with a partisan report that was basically fabricated and then laundered through the press to masquerade as fact. And then they go on CNN, these Democrats like Seth Moulton, and say the right is responsible for 76% of violence. And what are they really saying? They're saying we've excluded gang violence from mass shootings. We've then lumped in, as the ADL does, anti-government protests, which includes Antifa.
Yep.
White supremacy, which is not overtly political in any mainstream partisan way.
And that includes white supremacist gangs in prison.
And my favorite.
Really?
My favorite. Other.
That's great.
The ADL considers any nondescript political violence to be right-wing. Let me prove it for you. Let me prove it. I ain't even playing around.
I didn't even know that's how deep it goes.
Yeah,
Like,
so
you're talking about
it's white supremacist gangs in prison, which they are violent in prison because there's a lot of violence, but it doesn't include any black people in prison that commit any violence.
Here you go. Wow. Take a look at how the Anti-Defamation League's heat map categorizes extremism. Right-wing, white supremacist. Now, if you went to J.D. Vance, the vice president, or Donald Trump, and asked them, Do they hate black people based on race, or should there be race? They're going to say absolutely not. There should be no laws based on, preferences based on race. If you went to any mainstream conservative and said, should there be race-based policy? Or, more importantly, do you think white people are inherently better than other races? 100% would say no. I said mainstream. There are certainly people on the fringe who align with white supremacy, but they call it right-wing. Next, you have right-wing anti-government. That's right. When far leftists go out and engage in violence, that's right-wing because they oppose the government. What? Okay, here's my favorite. Other. The category includes other right-wing extremist movements, as well as the extreme wings of the broader right-wing movements, if they have association with violence, including anti-abortion, anti-Muslim, anti-immigration, anti-public lands. Other.
Interesting.
So what is left-wing? The category includes groups and movements traditionally considered part of the left, as well as anarchists. It also includes environmental and animal rights extremists. For simplicity's sakes, it includes black nationalist extremists, even though not all black nationalist extremist groups are necessarily fall under the banner of the far left. Why are there three categories of right-wing?
Very extreme category.
Why is an Islamist under left-wing?
Yeah.
The left overtly defends Islam every single day. Why is white supremacist right-wing? How about they put left-wing, parentheses, Islamist? Because what they have done is they've intentionally created a list that will lump tons of different categories under the quote-unquote right. Because to the left, right-wing means bad guy. This is what they do. So how about this? I'll start an NGO, and we'll call it the Middle Loop Institution. And we'll get a picture of Shane wearing his mighty fine glasses. And you're a doctor.
Yeah, that's right. $20.
Dr.
You can get online
Cashman.
too. Yeah, that's right. I can do weddings.
That's
and
right.
I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Dr. Cashman. No, but you were actually a professor.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a doctorate?
No.
Well,
I
you're Dr.
don't have that
Cashman
much
anyway.
shame, but yeah, we'll pretend.
We'll pretend. You know what? No, we'll get Dr. Drew. We'll get whoever.
Yeah.
And then we will do the stats the way they do, disseminate them to the press, and the press will run with it. Now, of course, the truth is the media is left aligned. So they know they are lying when they disseminate this stuff, but that's how they launder fake news and manipulate people into believing this stuff.
Pass the buck along back to the NGO. They don't give a shit.
Well, it goes back to a study, a report that was published by the NGO.
A real
that
report.
No one checks.
There was one doctor who signed off on it.
My favorite was the Alternative Influencer Network report 7 years ago, where they claimed that Chris Ray Gun, a video game comedy YouTuber, had collaborated with Richard Spencer, the frontman of the alt-right, when in fact the two men not only had nothing in common, but never once met. They claimed in their report that I had collaborated with Stefan Molyneux, who I had never met before. They just make it up. The funny thing was they put me in the middle of it. There's this big, what are those things called with the conspiracy maps, like the red lines?
Oh, just a fucking crazy guy's fucking wall.
They made that, and they put me in the middle. And the Young Turks used it unironically.
How's it feel when you see that just as Tim?
I mean, I don't know.
She's like, what the fuck?
I guess at that point, it's when I first saw it, I made a bunch of phone calls like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
And mind you, this is in 2018. I believe it was 2018. And this was a time where I said I was staunchly liberal and would never vote for Donald Trump and couldn't stand the guy. And they still lied about me and smeared me and did all this stuff.
Right.
Absolutely insane. So at the time, I made a bunch of phone calls, furious, and called a lawyer and said, how can they include me in this and claim that I interacted with people I did not? And they said, you can't do anything about it. You can't sue them. They're allowed to do it.
Well, and I mean, now it's going to get people killed. As we've seen, all these lies and smears and et cetera, it's going to get people killed, as it already has.
Yeah, that's their goal.
Yeah.
That's their goal.
Well, they set up the pincer movement a while ago where they would say, if you went to like your average leftist and be like, okay, is it appropriate to punch a Nazi? And they'd be like, yeah, of course. Of course,
punch a
absolutely.
local Nazi.
And then they would say, is someone like Charlie Kirk a fascist? And they'd be like, yeah, of course. And it's like, okay, well, you've already cleared political violence in your worldworldview. They did it years ago.
We've seen the way that they've cultivated this the labeling culture that they've cultivated, where they attach these extreme words onto ordinary people like Charlie, who are doing extraordinary things, but they label the word Nazi, fascist, sexist, misogynist. And most people, let's be honest, most people don't do their own research. Most people just want to hear what they want to hear. They want to see what they want to see. So people hear this, they'll run with it. If they don't like the guy, because from what they've heard or what their mates heard, they're going to run with it. And now we're seeing right now the end game of it. Finally, they've got what they've wanted. They've now hit the green button on violence. Now it's condoned, mate. And a lot of them are complicit in it. You see a lot of them are pushing back, saying, I don't agree with it. I think it should be. But they're bickering with themselves. I can't believe a whole side of the political aisle can't come to terms on whether murder is wrong.
Yeah.
You know? Isn't that,
it's because
messed up, mate?
They've effectively made their side believe in the caricature that the talking heads and the bureaucrats created. So like Trump being literally Hitler, they literally
that used
believe
to
it.
be a meme though. Remember,
Right.
it's like, he is literally Hitler. But now it's like, they're maniacs, these people, mate, like out here, they truly believe this. And they think they're heroes, mate. They think they're Iron Man, Superman, superheroes rolling in, ka-chow, thinking they're saving the universe from sudden doom. Yeah. Where it's just a normal bloke, saying he loves people of all races, he doesn't see race. Get shot. Yeah. How disgusting is that?
Yeah, man.
We lived in America. I moved here because you get away from countries like that,
Yeah.
But what a shame.
Evil's everywhere, dude.
Yeah.
I want to jump to the story from the Free Beacon. FBI investigating social media accounts that appeared to indicate foreknowledge of Kirk assassination. In fact, there is a theory that there is a transgender cell. I think maybe an easier way to put it, some people have referred to it as a terror cell, is there is an online clique with various communication channels that talk to each other, knew about this, in some ways aided or abetted the shooter. But at the bare minimum, there was a network of individuals, likely transgender, that were in communication with the shooter and were aware of the plans. Take a look at this. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is investigating social media posts by at least 7 different accounts that appeared to indicate foreknowledge of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, according to 3 people familiar with the investigation. The posts, one of which referenced the date of Kirk's assassination, September 10th, more than a month before it took place, were all deleted in the days following the killing. Several of the accounts appear to belong to trans individuals, and at least one of them followed suspect Tyler Robinson's roommate, with whom Robinson was allegedly in a relationship. Now, here's an interesting thing. There is a conspiracy theory that the roommate is the shooter and that Robinson is the patsy.
Dude, did you see that footage? I saw this footage today of like the two individuals early on. It's beginning when he's like doing this product throwout. I think it was what he's doing, and you can see in the back on the frames, you'll see two figures above the roof from which he was shot. It was like the Liso Center, whatever it's called. I haven't.
That's fake. It's fake.
They were on the roof.
It's someone's hands.
Yeah.
If you look at it.
Really?
Yeah, I saw people sharing. There's so many. They've littered
so
the
much
internet with so many easy things to debunk.
Here's another one. There's an image of the suspect, and people are putting it next to the image of the suspect in jail, and they don't look the same. It's because the image of the suspect in the stairwell is an AI-generated image. It's not real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the past year, I've had a guest on my show. We've done about 3 episodes with BX talking about these cults these death cults that are online. A lot of them have a lot of trans ideology in them, and they reference each other, and they're obsessed with mass shooters. They idolize it. They fetishize it. It's a 09A 764 network. It's a big deal. Some of them have been in the military. It's a big network. So this is like the Catholic Church shooter. All the writings on his guns reference a lot of those shooters and other things.
This is an interesting one. In this TikTok, it reads, Charles James Kirk, Mr. College Dropout, does not know what's coming tomorrow. Be ready. This isn't a threat. It's a promise. One post said, Charlie Kirk is coming to my college. I really hope someone finally evaporates him. Let's just say something big will happen tomorrow. Another post says, you guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know it when you see it. Well, that's that. 4:52 at 9:10.
I guaranteed there's a lot of people involved with this.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed.
They're grabbing him super. It was the 762 Colt is what you're referencing.
764.
Where
yeah.
they recruit on like Roblox. I mean, that's a game for like
children.
Like
they go after your kids, and they will try to make your kids harm themselves, do horrible things to kind of induct them into the cult, and then it turns into real life violence. And the FBI
they groom them really young on even on Reddit and all that, and they go on there and they go on these Discord servers, and I've seen there were these Discord servers where they were there was this big thing like. Was going for a long time. There were like these grooming groups of people who were like trying to convince young kids that they were trans, and they were very successful. You know, they got a whole cohort of people who actually weren't like that, and they somehow convinced them this is a thing. There's a pipeline for this stuff, and mate, I can't believe people are saying, "Oh, the simplest answer must be the simplest." You know, I look at there's so much more to it. Mate.
Oh yeah, when you take the lonely and isolate them, and they're over medicated, and you start feeding them all this negative, like demonic stuff, it's easy to activate them.
Well, it's easy for people like us to go, oh, they're just crazies. Because we go outside, we have beers with the lads, we go out, we have fun or whatever, we talk to people, we have social skills, whatever. There's kids out there who never leave the house, they got no one, you know, and they get preyed upon by these people in like Roblox and this. Like, I can't imagine how to get to that point where you can get manipulated like that. But there seems to be a large number of people right now. I'm guessing it's because of social media. You feel like an ant in an anthill.
It's MK Ultra.
Yeah, you're
They've been doing
lonely,
this for decades.
you know.
Well, and also like when we think who's running these types of cults or sextortion groups or whatever, like we think it's like some creepy old guy. But every time they bust these people, they're also fairly young. Like
They're
in
not
their
memers.
20s.
They're like
and they're
kids
just
and that.
other atomized individuals that are just feeding each other like this, like it's a death cult. That's quite literally the only thing that
Like mold
you could possibly
growing,
think
mate.
of.
It feeds on itself, you know. It's strange.
And it's getting worse and worse and worse because every social indicator of young people's matriculation is going the wrong way. So it's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
We see the like there's a lot. I can't remember the exact figure, but there's a large percentage of young women, especially, who identify as LGBT, and that's like whatever. But it's just like generally that was delegated to a very small minority of people for all of history and all of ancient history, prehistory. And you look at that, there's always been, gay dudes going around, but mate, you look at it now, these are large percentages. I'm not going to say a number because I'm not a leftist. I'm not going to say a number just to say a number and go, this is the number, this is the truth. I'm going to wait till I actually get a fact, but mate, it's crazy.
I want to play this clip from The Five of Jesse Waters, which is kind of horrifying.
These aren't fringe people. These are people that are teaching your children celebrating Charlie Kirk being assassinated. These are neurologists. These are people who work at Fortune 500 companies. And they're sounding like the devil himself. And so these people, we don't have to tolerate. We can forgive, but they have to get on their knees and they have to beg for forgiveness. They have to repent.
The important thing right here is we're talking about the radicalization. Do you want to go to a hospital where the nurse was cheering for the death of Charlie Kirk? You show up and you've got like an American flag tattoo, or maybe you've got "We the People" on your arm, or "Join or Die" tattooed.
Go to a place where they potentially hate you.
And you go to a place where there's a woman working in there and she said these people should die. I'm not going to let that person give me any kind of shot or IV or anything.
Well, that's why it's so strange that this is a wedge issue, because it's like generally in any, like you were saying earlier, in any workplace, if someone's really excited that someone died, they would get fired for that. Like that, that has been the standard.
No
for a very
brainer for
long time.
all of employment history. It's not like this isn't a new cancel culture for the right thing. This is just common sense, mate. They call it, what do they call it? Accountability culture now. Consequence culture. That's what they call it.
That's what the left has always called it. But I think the more worrying thing is to stop and consider teachers, doctors, lawyers, executives, Secret Service agents, people in the military cheering for a political assassination against an individual who was a moderate. That is the terrifying reality that we're dealing with. The radicalization. Look, every conservative knows I'm not a conservative. Every liberal will call me far right. If a moderate, middle-of-the-road centrist, liberal leaning in certain areas, conservative in some areas, if a moderate is far right, y'all, you got targets on your back.
Yeah, you're a problem, mate. Yeah. No tolerance, What a tolerant group of people, mate.
And now there's this lie where if you go on networks like Threads or Blue Sky, everyone's ignoring Threads, by the way, but Threads is really bad.
So I went on as soon as the news dropped. I was like, please. I actually went on Threads just as an experiment because I was destroyed. I was actually out with a coffee and I actually heard people. I was with my girl and you heard people on laptops. In the afternoon, there's all these, paper pushers on their laptops or whatever. They're all, I'm a writer, I'm a journalist, I'm an A&R. I'm in Nashville, so you get all these music industry people, mate. In the corner, these two girls, blue hair, looking like freaks, mate. No offense, whatever. Cool if you like blue hair, but honestly, I think it's disgusting. In the corner, you hear them go, "Oh my God, Charlie Kirk." And you could hear it. And they're like, "Oh my God, oh my God." They're like jumping around. Yeah. And that's the first interaction that I saw about it. Made me sick. My girl was crying. My manager and his wife were crying. First thing I did, I'm like, let me check Threads as an experiment to see if this is a common thing that I'm witnessing, or these are just two fucked up people at the coffee shop. Mate, I've never been on Blue Sky. I don't know. It was disgusting. Actually disgusting. Rest in piss or whatever they say, mate.
Threads is insane. I don't think people realize that there's no middle ground anymore.
No.
I just pulled my Threads app right now, and the first thing I see is someone saying, Charlie Kirk was a weirdo. He advocated for the inherent inferiority of certain social groups at a time where hate crimes and discriminatory legislation were on the rise. It's just the whole thing. And then there are some conservatives trying to push back, but it's just a flood of liberals celebrating it. The funny thing is when they said, there was a viral post on Threads that said, you mean there's a group that is further far right than Charlie Kirk with a bunch of exclamation points? Because the lie they were pushing was that Nick Fuentes got Charlie Kirk killed, which is absolutely insane, by the way, fake. And Axios is even debunked.
It's ridiculous.
But it was because they needed an excuse to say, we're the good guys. But Greg Gutfeld exploded on Jessica Tarlov on The Five today. And he was like, the reason you need to lie is because you're starting to realize you're not the good guys. And they're not. They're the villains. They cheer for the villains in movies. They made the orcs. They tried to make the orcs into good guys.
They ruined the orcs, mate. They just ruined the orcs.
They did.
Straight up. They ruined
right.
my orcs, you know.
Do you see the show?
Yeah, they ruined orcs. I can't believe you could ruin orcs. They're like one of the most steady character archetypes of all time. They're disgusting beasts. They're like, let's give them thoughts and feelings and shit. You know, it's like, no, dude.
They're poor families that are scared of humans.
These poor orc families that kill people.
You know? Real. And it's funny because it's the meme where it's the Battle of Helm's Deep. Who can, if you don't know what that is, too bad, you're not nerd enough. Anyway, it's a big battle in Lord of the Rings. And the battle. And you see, I think it's like, I don't know, it shows Gandalf talking to Aragorn or whatever, and he's like, well, let them in. Don't be racist.
What?
When it's like, the orcs are here at the gates. It's like, well, let them in. Don't be racist.
Let them in. I don't believe in borders, so let them in.
Right. I also want to say, like, I believe these cults exist, but I also don't want to discount this idea of accelerationism and things that our government has done over the years, whether it's Operation Gladio, Condor, the years of lead that they might have participated in Italy. And I think there's these forces beyond just the foot soldiers on the ground that want to hasten the end times and collapse society. And that's what I see a lot of this. Whether or not they're actually behind this, I think they take advantage of these tragedies and they want to bring us to the end.
Well, the only thing separating these atomized, shooters and the people that are celebrating is that the people celebrating just have something to lose. Because fundamentally, they have the same ideology, this ideology of death. The only thing separating them from these executives or teachers or whatever is those people that have something to lose. But we're dealing with the same ideology across the board here, from the atomized cultist shooter and, your doctor.
You can get away with much more when you're homeless and you're unemployed, living in the basement. You can say whatever you like, but the teacher, I can't believe people. I just honestly can't believe people are so confident right now. Like, we live in a confidence hellhole. I think, I grew up in Australia where it's like, if you're too confident, you get smacked on the back of the head. It's like, calm down, mate, all that. But nowadays, you see people on social media. They are so confident in their anonymity. So I'm a bit dyslexic, but mate, they're so confident in the fact that they don't think they'll be seen, that they're cheering for death. They're a nurse. Or I saw this woman saying she was a childcare worker. She said, you know what? Fuck the kids. Oh, he's a father. Well, fuck the kids, fuck the wife. It's like, bitch, you work as a childcare worker with your name on your Facebook and you got your place of work right there. They instantly sacked her, obviously. Yeah. But I can't believe people have the audacity, mate. I would never, If I was working at McDonald's, I'd be too afraid to lose my job. I'm like, please, no, I'm a good boy,
Their ideology means more to them.
Chicken burger, man. I like that reference, bro.
Yeah. That's their whole identity, though.
Yeah.
It's a religion.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's strange.
So it's more than their jobs, more than anything. It's like they are virtue signaling to their death cult that we accept this.
They get a little taste of martyrdom if they get fired.
Yeah.
Well, that's
exactly.
They legitimately, like, this is not a LARP, this is not a bit, they legitimately think they're fighting fascism.
Well, I like that point you said, like role-playing martyrdom.
Yeah.
You look at that, even in the protests, they're wearing the little scarves on their head, the kafirs or whatever, trying to look like the warrior. Kind of, it's almost like what's that movie, the Scottish dude? Fight for our freedom.
Highlander.
Braveheart, mate. Like that's what it feels like. It feels like a fake attempt to kind of feel like that. And you look at them, they're a bunch of like 5 foot tall, mentally ill, scrawny losers. And they're like, we are warriors. And they're like getting taken away from the cops. They're like, take my video. It's like ever since the George Floyd, it's been there's been some kind of like this feeling of just prestige that comes with getting arrested or being a martyr or being a moron. And I just look at it, I just don't know. I feel like the whole world's in like a state of shock right now that I haven't snapped out of yet. I haven't snapped out of the shock just going, how can these people be doing this? I don't know about you guys, but I haven't snapped out of it. Like most people just like still struggling to find words.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't even know, mate. It's just
hard to go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, your brain's just going and going.
The next crazy thing, too, we'll just mention it briefly. I don't need to pull anything up for this, is the people who are posting within a day, Israel did it. Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
That's comedy, though.
And
they're I mean,
with
plane thing.
So I will say this. Candace Owens, her live stream from 2 hours ago, is titled "They Are Lying About Charlie Kirk," and it's a picture of Netanyahu. She has several viral posts where she said in the lead up to his assassination, or at some point, he had rejected money from Netanyahu, and that he was fearful of the Israel lobby and feared that they would kill him if he didn't do what they said, or something to that effect. And all I can say is, knowing, I'm not going to pretend like, you know, I hung out with Charlie every single day or anything like that. I've heard nothing of the sort. I will just say that I reached out to several people and denied every single step of it. Like, it's just plumb psychotic. It's just fake. It's completely fake. Now, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they would lie to me about that. I also don't know why Candace would make a video with a picture of Bibi Netanyahu titled "They Are Lying to Us About Charlie Kirk," and then say that Charlie was scared of Israel. Or Ian Carroll, who posted shortly after, he had a viral tweet where he said within 24 hours, everyone figured out who did it. It was Israel. Of course, none of it makes any sense. They made these videos where they show Charlie Kirk talking to Ben Shapiro about genocide in Gaza. And it was a typical podcast layup where Charlie said to Ben, "What would you say to someone who called what's going on in Gaza a genocide?" And then Ben answers. They then zoom in on Ben's face and play music to make it seem like Charlie Kirk had become critical of Israel. He had not. Charlie, in fact, was making videos where he brought young Gen Z men in to debate them on why Jews in Israel were good and why he supports Israel. So this narrative that's emerged is the weirdest thing ever. Maybe it's for clicks. Maybe it's because people have Israel derangement syndrome. I don't know. All I can say is this. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just some guy. When I saw Candace Owens and Ian Carroll posting about it, I reached out to several people because we are directly connected to all of them. We've been on TPUSA stage 3 times in the past 3 years, which requires heavy coordination to bring a show, transport, crew, and all of that stuff. Not only that, we are friends with tons of people who work with TPUSA directly coming on this show almost every other day or routinely. And it's just been patently denied by everyone as a fake, fabricated story made up. And so I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't know Candace Owens that well either. I don't know why she would make it up. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think it's just not true. I trust my friends, and I have no reason to believe that the people I know who are saying that never happened, this is fake, would lie to me.
I think there's something beyond just a cult. And I also think the Israel narrative might have something to do with my theory on accelerationism, where they drop a narrative in to just sow more discord and make people fight and blame and point the finger as people blaming just one community, this other community. And I think a lot of the goal with accelerationism is that's the chaos. They know how things will be interpreted online. They know who's going to say what. So they just point the fingers and things fall apart.
Yeah, like Sneeko saying that's what they wanted. They wanted the left and right at each other's necks. That's what they wanted.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, we know
The ambiguous they of old.
Who is they,
and to me, they right now would be there's larger factions within the government, deep state types that did things like Operation Gladio or Condor, Years of Lead, who go undercover in these chat rooms to radicalize people. You know, we've seen that over the years.
Yeah, well, I just think at this point, like, if you had your Israel narrative locked and loaded, you're just like 3-4 days after the shooting, you're just not on the team, because it's like we have an opportunity here to finally crush this leftist death cult, and then now you're trying to like do a bait.
They're protecting the left.
Yeah.
I don't care about Israel. I don't want to fund Israel. I don't care what Israel does. Let's cut off all funding and sever ties with them 100%. How does that sound for you guys? Let me stand alongside everybody who hates Israel and say, we're going to cut off ties to Israel. They're on their own. They get no more money from us. Don't know, don't care. Now, why are they defending the left? Why are they running cover from somebody who all indications is trans ideologue. All of a sudden they're saying, hey, don't look over there, look over here at this other country halfway around the world. It could be because anything that could be used to weaponize anger against Israel is part of their strategy, I guess. I don't know. I find it weird that at the same time as I can say, hey, stop distracting from this story about a left-aligned individual who assassinated a prominent conservative, they then say, I'm a Zionist. They say Tim Pool supports the Jews or Zionism or whatever, when I can literally say in the same breath, cut off all funding, sever all ties, and they can do whatever they want. We're out. No, nope, that's not good enough. That's why I think it's fake. Because if I come out and say, I advocate for the U.S. to cut all funding 100% from Israel, don't want to be involved, and they still call me a Zionist and they still call me pro-Israel, you know they're not serious and they're lying.
Well, the people that are like that are bringing up Israel all the time, to say you don't support them isn't enough. They actually want the U.S. to just help the Palestinians destroy Israel. Like, really, they really do want to see Israel destroyed so much that they're like, the U.S. should start bombing, the Israelis, and because of all the terrible things. Because the point is, they hate Jews in Israel. So when you say, oh, well, let's just forget it, I don't want to give them money or whatever, that's not good enough, because you have to hate the way that they hate, because that's what it's based on.
I don't think they all hate Jews, though. I think you can't oversimplify it.
They hate Israel.
I don't think hating Israel. You can hate the government and still like Jews.
They still, but they want to see the U.S. involved in military action against Israel.
That I disagree with. I just want to walk away.
There is an issue in that there are certain people who are critical of Israel, as anyone is allowed to be. There are certain people who just hate Jews, and the people who hate Jews will always take an opportunity to overlap with those who hate Israel, and so intentionally obfuscating the argument.
Yeah.
So that way, it becomes challenging when you've got somebody whose real motive is hating Jews, just masquerading as an anti-war or anti-interventionist personality.
Yep.
Well, it's just the flip side of the same people when Kirk went down and people were upset about it, people that were apolitical. And then they would literally, and if you don't believe me, just go to a comment section of like a normie Instagram account that, was announcing the death. And people would be like, but all these children dying in Palestine, like, what about that? And it's like, okay, yeah, that's sad, but
two things can be
Charlie
bad,
Kirk
yeah.
right now. But the flip side is the people that are instantly like, oh, Israel did this. Yeah, it's Israel. Let me just change the conversation from left versus right and turn it into a geopolitical argument.
Jingly keys, mate. Jingly keys.
Yeah, precisely.
Keep your head off the actual task at hand. Let's bicker about.
That's all it is.
Shit,
yeah, they're just trying to change the narrative.
Hey, look. That's what it is. That's straight up what it is. And I think it's weird. You see so much. You see so much of this, bro, and I'm honestly sick of it.
Yeah.
It's pro-Democrat, right? The leftists in this country hate Israel.
Yeah.
And they obfuscated the shooter's motivation or ideology. And then other people came out immediately blaming Israel, once again aligning with the left on hatred of Israel and, again, obfuscating the identity or the motivation of the shooter. I just find it to be kind of over the top, completely obvious that, like, I got to be honest, when I think it was like Jackson Hinkle or whatever had a tweet where he said that GTA was Israel or Zionist or something. People are Timmy's joking, and I'm like, okay, I got maybe, but when people can't figure that out because he does like stuff like that all the time, it almost feels like it's so overt and over the top. It actually makes you question whether they're serious when they say it, because you're like, is this a joke? In what reality did Israel kill Charlie Kirk? I don't understand how that's the craziest thing. I mean, if you came out and said that Russia did it, I'd believe you. I'd be more likely to believe you. If you were like, oh yeah, because he was in Trump's ear on war plans or something. I don't know.
I just see there's a more believable, more simplistic way of looking at it. There's a more obvious option here. There's a radical group of people in this country that just want someone dead, and that's what it is. Yeah. And that's what we've had, a deterioration of discourse, a divide that's grown to a valley. Why do you have to jump into this is a foreign nation's fault or this is this? It's obvious, mate. It's a radical group of people that want people dead. And it's the deterioration of discourse and just polite society. And we're seeing it in real time. We felt it all these years. You guys longer living in America. I've only been here 3 years. But you can feel it. So to me, I just think it's just an obvious answer. It's just some crazy dude, a part of a crazy agenda that's taking over.
And I get it. I'm a little reluctant to judge whatever right now and take any answer at its face value, knowing how, like, even RFK Jr. doesn't believe the assassin that we have killed his father. You know, you look at Lee Harvey Oswald, and the CIA was tracking him all over the place. So it's like the answers, when they come so easy, I'm a little reluctant to believe, like, then that's it. I can't just.
Then also a bit of healthy skepticism is always great too. You can't always just believe, because then you're just, the jingly keys work on you too, mate.
They count on you accepting the narrative that makes the most sense.
And that's, and we've seen that track record working in American history, just general history with warfare.
JFK died in the 60s. And we're still
there's
not
a lot
sure.
of people. That a lot of people that are like, the news said it was,
right,
and but yeah, I certainly think a lot of people saying, well, look at this bad thing, therefore you didn't speak on. You said earlier you didn't touch on Gaza.
Yeah,
you didn't touch on Gaza. Now you're bringing up Charlie Kirk. I'm retarded, and this is my best argument. And I look at it, and I'm just like, mate, two things can be bad at once. We've had one of the most significant political figures in American history get shot in the neck on in front of millions of people in HD 4K. First time that's really happened in that graphical kind of way. Like, it was terrifying. And you see that and you're like, why can't we focus on that? Why can't we put our attention on that? Like, obviously there's bad things happening all over the world. You look in Africa right now with all the slaves and all the people getting killed, Christians and all these things. People aren't saying that. It's just diversion, mate. I look at it, I'm like, this is a very pivotal time in American history. And people say, oh, you got to focus on everything. Mate, I want to focus on Charlie Kirk because he died. And that's the way I look at it. And people be deflecting all the time, but I think that's what it comes down to, mate.
We got two comments I want to read. One says, Peter McKay says, how about, Tim, you watch Candace's video like I did, and then you can see that she kind of showed some proof. Sure. Dustin Jones says, Candace didn't say Israel did it. She was saying Bibi was lying by omission about a letter Charlie wrote, nothing to do with his death. Well, certainly, if that's the case, then I apologize if it came off that way. My point was, when you make a video with a picture of Bibi and says they're lying about Charlie Kirk 3 or 4 days after his assassination, and there is a spattering of posts online, particularly with other people like Ian Carroll saying Israel did it, that's kind of the insinuation by the thumbnail. But fair point. I didn't watch her stream.
She said they got into some kind of heated argument in the Hamptons. With,
right. I saw some of the X posts.
Yeah.
Which, of course, it sounds like the implication is they killed him.
Yeah, like Fuentes was going live before the show saying that he had the smoking gun, or he's addressing the smoking gun, which is like, we don't know.
He's saying it's Israel?
That's, I mean, crazy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like, okay, it's one thing. I'm not specifically addressing Candace or anything. I'm just saying, why are we in a rush to let the left off the hook here? That's just so strange to me. Because it's like, we have a huge opportunity where the admin can crack down, and it's like, we're just going to completely let them off the hook because of like weird smoking guns that are apparently out there.
Let's jump to this story from the Post-Millennial. Good point. 2 men arrested after allegedly planting explosive device under Fox affiliate news vehicle in Magna, Utah. Okay, I mean, that's the news. 2 men have been arrested for allegedly leaving an incendiary device under a Fox 13 news vehicle. The men, Adib Nasir, 58, and Adil Justice Ahmed Nasir, 31, were booked into jail and faced multiple charges, including threat of terrorism, possessing explosive devices. The device underneath the Fox 13 news vehicle was originally located on Friday and determined to be real, according to officials. The device had been lit, but failed to function.
Very American name. Right?
Yeah. Today I was,
Heritage American.
Yeah, that's heritage. Old school, really. Utah names.
I was watching the news, and if you're wondering what civil war would look like, it's things like this. Most people don't know the story even happened.
Yeah.
That's what's scary about it. The news today has been dominated so much by, of course, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, as well as, I think, Israel's launching a ground invasion of Gaza City or something. This news is just breaking. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's, of course, Russia and Poland drones. And then 2 men arrested for putting an explosive device in a news vehicle. You also had the threats in Annapolis, which resulted in an accidental shooting. You had the threats and swatting calls to all these different universities. And I think what people don't realize about what civil war looks like is, I'm not saying we're in a civil war, but it looks kind of like this. You'll turn on the news, and you'll be watching Fox, or maybe you're watching MSNBC. But it'll be Brett Baer, and he'll say, in other news, I-95 in Texas was hit by an IED, cutting off the flow of traffic from the south into the eastern regions. So everybody, unfortunately, you won't have your strawberries in time for Christmas, but At least we will still have our local fruits and vegetables. But in other news, and then I'll move on. In the event that there is some kind of civil war or whatever, conflict, crisis in this country, it's not going to be every state lining up against state. It'll be you turning on the news and they'll say, power is out in Omaha as a substation was struck by gunfire. It'll be you looking out your window and in the middle of the night you hear rustling and then a bang. You creep over to your window and take a peek out and there's 3 guys in armor with guns slow walking down the street and you don't know what they're doing or why, and that's it, and they're gone. It'll be you going to a marketplace and hearing gunshots go off, and then you'll hit the ground, and then that'll be it. You won't know why. But you'll hear a lot on the news about gas attacks or bombs being detonated, and it'll mostly be in a faraway place. Very few people will actually live in hot zones. And this is every civil war in history.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that this is the beginning of a civil war is something that like we've kind of been dealing with for the past, or at least touching on. And there's a lot of people that are really critical about, oh, Tim says civil war, blah, blah, blah. But you can't deny that there's been an increase in rhetoric and an increase in violence over the past 5 years. That's basically, I mean, as far as I can remember, it's not like any other time period in my life, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore,
Tim's description sounds like right now to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that is happening all the time when I turn on the news.
I turned on the news the other day, and every story was about some kind of violence happening, and I was just like, holy crap.
A year ago in the same town that Robinson's from, a trans kid shot his parents.
Whoa.
Both of them. Like right down the road.
Must be something in the water.
Must be.
Yeah. Feels like, to me, we've been in ideological war for God knows how long at this point. It feels like a long time. And it's becoming increasingly physical to the point where people can't ignore it. And the way I look at it, it's like, it's obvious, mate. We've been in war. We've been in war of politics. We've been in war of ideology. It's been brutal. People haven't been able to talk to their family members, cutting each other off. This is warfare. It's mental warfare. So the fact that people, some people, I know some people, they're shocked that things are getting physical. And I'm like, mate, I can't believe it hasn't got physical, didn't get physical earlier. And I'm shocked. I just look at it and I'm like, it's just another product of this lineage that we've been on.
It's human nature.
Yeah,
look
well,
at
it
the
is.
60s in this country. We're going through it again right now.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to get answers from that. Like Malcolm X was shot dead in front of everybody, including his kids and his pregnant wife. And they have 3 people in jail. Well, they had 3 people in jail. And they didn't even get the right 3 people, right? And then like right now, his family is just now, as of 2021, suing the CIA and the NYPD.
People never
over
seem
his
to get
death.
the right people in these things.
They
you know?
don't.
So the problem with like today though is it's not tit for tat. Like it's almost entirely coming from the left. So it's like you would need to see a ramping up of like right wing political violence, which is just not happening because political violence is inherently left wing coded.
You think that, but they think that that's not true because they'll point to J6 and they think, but we know that's probably left wing violence.
J6 was an insurrection.
Basically, Jan 6 is like Pearl Harbor.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think this is a civil war. I think this is a attack from the left onto the right. I mean, down the road, maybe it would go tit for tat, but right now, the kinetic violence is coming from one side.
Well,
that's civil strife then.
Sure, yeah.
Right, which we are, by most academic assessments, we are in a period of civil strife. It does not mean a civil war will happen, but I think when Charlie Kirk gets assassinated, everyone can plainly see we're at least in a civil strife period.
Well, I mean, not only that, but I mean, you go 2 attempts on the president's life, and then there was the Minnesota lawmakers.
Just look at the reactions to big political
and then
events.
There was the firebombing of Josh Shapiro's house, and then there's this Charlie Kirk. Like it's not like there haven't been significant back and forth kind of attacks on different ideologies from one side or the other.
But it's not the same like when it's an attack on a left winger. It's like there's always asterisks when it's an attack on a right winger. It's like everyone endorsing it, or when they do give these condemnations, it's like there's so many like qualifiers on it where it's like, well, he was this bad guy, but we shouldn't kill him.
I mean, I agree. Like the left does apologize for it a lot more than the right does. But the point that I'm making is that we are like whether or not we're in a period of civil strife is not in question.
No, that's 100%.
Yeah.
I'm just like it's not gone kinetic from the right.
Last year ended with Mangione.
Right.
And then the new year happened with
That
the
should have
New
been a
Orleans
warning,
terror
by
attack.
the way. That should have been a warning.
Dude, January 1st was the New Orleans terror attack. and the Cybertruck blowing up outside of Trump Tower. Oh yeah. Think about all the things that have happened since, and like they went into that terrorist's house and. Miraculously, his Quran was open up to the page on Martyrdom, and they let journalists in there. That's a whole other story.
It was the
which
guy,
is weird.
the truck guy in
the truck
in New Orleans.
That's what I'm talking about. We've had, and don't even forget about the drones in the sky that led up to Mangione. We had the guy who fired upon all those firefighters in Idaho. What you were saying in Minnesota, the Catholic Church shooting. I mean, there's other shootings that have happened. The same day Charlie was shot, there was a Colorado school shooting. Right. So that is just happening. It seems like it's happening at a much more frequent clip.
And a lot of those that, like the school shooting, the Catholic school shooting, that was definitely politically motivated because it was a trans person that was attacking Catholics.
Didn't he grow up in a Catholic family or something like that?
So.
Had some
mom worked at the
some
school.
Reason to hate it or something.
People that hate their father.
But again, that person, that shooter was referencing
like,
all these other cult type figures that were mass shooters, and they referenced all of them across the political spectrum. So where it creates a distortion when you hear about it.
To Tate's point, the idea that the left, the fact of the matter is the left doesn't accept a lot of the things that are actually leftist. Like they're trying to deny that this kid was a leftist. They're doing everything they can to swear up and down that he wasn't. They wouldn't say that the trans shooters, any of them, are politically motivated, even though they have an ideology that is the exact reason why they hated people and why the exact reason why they went after the targets they did.
I'm just like, if not that, then what? There's no other reason. Like there actually isn't. There's like no other reason. You're the Catholic school shooter. Well, what other reason would you shoot up a Catholic school?
Saying that the trans shooters that go and shoot up Catholic school is not political is like saying Dylan Roof going to an all black church and shooting all black people is not political. So if you think he's just a crazy person and that's not political, then I can say, okay, I disagree, but then I would understand why you would say the trans person is not. But if you think one is political and the other is not, then you're just being dishonest.
You know what I notice? These leftists, like when it comes to art, I'm a musician. I'm in the music thing. One thing I hear a lot from leftists and a lot of this left-wing culture is that everything is inherently political. I hear that a lot. I hear that.
So the personal is political.
How convenient when it's looking bad on your end, it's not political today. But tomorrow, some guy in a Trump shirt does something, or even just wearing a red hat, it's not even a Trump hat, does something. It's like a light switch, mate, and that's why no one takes them seriously. And that's why there's an exodus. It's like the death throes of an insane group of people. That's what it looks like. And going on to your guys' point, you said kinetic energy, and I love that. But I was looking. Just all the energy that you're seeing from all this tension that's been happening. Just look at all the protests that have happened over the past 10 years. All the fire, all the destruction. No one talks about that in conjunction with this. We have had signs, the Luigi Mangione thing. We've seen people die already for political purposes. We've seen people like killings out of spite in the back. People get shot in the back. Like I'm a Christian. I don't believe anyone should die. And so when I see people going, kill there are much better ways to go about taking care of these problems. And that's why we live in the United States of America.
Well, like fundamentally, it's like fundamentally, and what you're saying is like they don't kill Charlie Kirk if they think they're winning. They kill him when they're completely demoralized. They feel like the boot's on their neck. That's when you strike. It's like a cornered animal.
It's the death throes, mate.
It's the death throes, exactly like you said, precisely. So it's like, that's exactly what's going on. Is they're not negotiating for him. They don't have the higher ground. This is what you do when you know you're on the way out, when you're demoralized.
This is the back's against the wall. Make sure you never forget me. Right. That's what it feels like.
This is how I look at it. Like they've always been a death cult, but it's been in the shadows. And I compare it to Ted Bundy operating in the shadows for so long undetected. And once he's caught, he jumps out of a window, takes a log, and just goes crazy. And then they get him.
Think about this. I'll say one more thing before I'll let you guys take the wheel, whatever. Sorry, I've been talking, mate. But I look at it. I look at these people. Where was I going with this? Oh shit! I actually completely forgot.
Crazy people backs against the wall.
Backs against the wall. Nope, still forgot. This is why I'm not a podcaster and I just sing songs, mate. I think I had a good point somewhere and it escaped me, guys. Everyone trusts me. I had a sick point.
That was
great.
It
was going to be a sick clip for YouTube.
Pretend it was a great point.
Everyone was like,
but
I appreciate you guys. You didn't hear it, but
no. I knew it was good. I knew. We'll cut it and say he had a great point. It was
a great point, but the feed cut out. And
it's weird.
You're welcome.
Here we go. We'll round it out with probably the straightforward news of all straightforward news. Post Millennial reports, quote, "It was me at UVU. Suspect in Charlie Kirk killing gave apparent confession in a Discord chat saying, 'Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday.'" We'll play the video.
Reports of a confession posted on Discord from Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin hours before, after the murder, but hours before his father turned him in to authorities in Utah. This is Washington Post reporting on this at this point. Justice correspondent David Spunt joining me now live from Washington. Hi, David. What can you tell us?
Hi, Martha. About 2 hours before he was turned into authorities, this according to the Washington Post. We are working to independently confirm this as well, but the Washington Post says that Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old suspect charged in Charlie Kirk's murder, confessed, and I want to read this according to the Washington Post, writing on Discord, that social media chat group that the FBI says he used, quote, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this." This coming from the Washington Post. Now, this comes as DOJ officials began late last week and over the weekend looking at the potential for at least one federal charge. No guarantee they'll get there. A department spokesperson declined comment, but a source familiar said investigators are not ruling anything out at this time, especially his online gaming presence, his chats, as we just mentioned. Who was he talking to?
Sounds like they're trying to go after on federal charges by his use of the internet. But, I mean, it looks like they got enough evidence.
Oh, yeah.
He's on video running away.
I'm still reserving
His dad
judgment.
turned him in.
Same shoes, same gun.
Yeah.
I'm still reserving judgment. After all the long history of things that have happened,
Sure,
I don't
agree.
want to. I don't
that. I
want
actually
to
respect
feel
that.
confident with this person. I want to get whoever it is. I think it's a lot of people, but it's too clean for me so far. And the whole Discord thing, they've gone back and forth with what the Discord is about. What
Well, Discord
said.
lied.
Clearly. So
Yeah. But here's the thing. It's not like the movies. People think that if some young guy who has no idea what he's doing manages to get a shot. So apparently he was raised in a family that was around guns and he went hunting, so he knew how to shoot. People keep, it's okay. People are lying, being like, you had to be a pro to make a shot from 150 yards. Google it. Look it up. I've seen little kids make shots like that with 100% accuracy.
this is the thing, though. Like when I talk about post reality, you can go online. There's experts saying one thing.
Okay, forget the
experts saying
experts. I'll tell you this. We have a range. It's local. We used to go there quite a bit. I have watched a 12-year-old. I'm not even kidding. A literal 12-year-old with a bolt action rifle hit 100% accuracy at about 100 yards.
To me, it's the angle he was shooting. If he's at where he was saying over the heads of all those people, I think that is probably a little harder. I mean, I've looked at a lot of people say both
50 yards
things.
with iron sights, I don't miss. I've got a 357 Magnum Winchester.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite long guns, and at 50 yards, I don't miss. Iron sights, no scope.
And I'm reserving judgment because I've seen people who say they're experts on guns saying one thing and experts saying a completely other thing.
You should also keep in mind it's likely that he actually missed where he was aiming for. At 200 yards, he was very likely aiming center mass because that's generally what you do, and the bullet hit him in the neck. So he actually wasn't trying to shoot him in the neck. Nobody would actually be taking aim at the neck. Even professionals, they would be aiming for the face, which they call the T, which is basically between the eyes.
Even that's rare.
Yeah, even rare. Yeah, but at 200 yards, it's doable for a pro. But for him, he was aiming here, and he got him in the neck.
There are two arguments. One is that from the angle, there was actually going to be a lift in that what he was aiming for would actually hit higher.
Right.
So that argument he was aiming center mass, and when it fired, it actually went a little bit higher because he actually wasn't a particularly good shot. The other argument is that he didn't account for drop and was aiming for the head.
Right.
Now, only thing I can say is this. Forget all the experts. I can tell you this. Shane, I will bring you out to the range. Do you have any training?
A little bit, yep.
Right, okay. So I guarantee you within an hour or two, you're going to hit 100% of your shots with a scoped bolt action.
Still have a lot of questions about just this guy being a lone wolf. A ton. There's a lot of stuff that's
I don't think he's a lone wolf.
And I'm still reserving judgment on him being an actual shooter. I think there's too many weird things. How he knew where the tent would be set up, when he got there, when did he get there?
No,
he parked in the morning because last time Charlie was there.
No, hold on. These events are planned well in advance.
But you don't know where the tent's going to be.
Yes, you do.
You think? I think
they have to submit a ground floor plan for security well in advance. So right
how
now,
did he get that?
So knew somebody. I don't think he was working alone.
From 3 hours away. So then the network is that big?
No. So this is what I'm saying. Like this, everyone keeps saying stuff like and I mean this respectfully, but in ignorance, how could he have known where the tent is going to be? Because 2 months out, they submitted their security plan to the university, and they said, "Here's where Charlie will be." And so, someone at the school said, "It's going to be so cool when Charlie shows up. They're going to put him right in the pavilion." Something that simple. So I'm traveling, and we're a month out, and I'm coordinating with security, travel, vehicle, all of this stuff, a month away from me just going to a new city. So for this, what does it look like? A young guy, radicalized online, who has trans friends, hears over and over again how Charlie Kirk wants to kill trans people because the left keeps saying, and then gets it in his mind to go and kill Charlie. It is also kind of my concern with Charlie's security, honestly, is that they chose the center of the pavilion right in the middle, creating line of sight from all the surrounding buildings. But the truth is, Charlie genuinely didn't think this was going to happen, which is sad and kind of crazy because I got to be honest, neither did I. And we talk about the violence all the time, and I still didn't think it was possible when we do. Listen, Alex Stein and I were going to go to a university in 3 weeks and do quite literally the exact same thing. And we didn't, and we planned this. The plan for this has been 4 or 5 months out. So it's entirely likely that the university we were going to was well aware of where Alex and I were going to be, where it was likely going to be set up very, very easily. And now we're canceling because of what happened to Charlie. We didn't consider it possible.
So you think someone leaks that information from the school to someone in a chat?
I don't think you need to leak it.
Dude, it's like
I don't think it's that public.
I think there's a 27-year-old who is coordinating watering the grass with security, who said, "Make sure you don't park anything over here because we're going to have this thing with TPUSA and he's going to be speaking here." And he went, "Okay." And it's just everyone knows. It's not compartmentalized. So I think people, they see these things and they think it's got to be like a movie. How is the guy caught? Well, let's be honest. I do respect the work that Cash and Dan had been doing personally going out, but he got turned in. So apparently the story is they couldn't figure out who it was. They watched all the surveillance footage. They, against the advice of other agents, put out the images of the suspect, and then the father turned him in. And I guess what happened was the kid said, the shooter, I guess the story is, I don't know, and this could be false too, it's still early, that he would rather die than go to jail. Right. And the dad physically restrained him until the police could come and get him. Right. And the principal reason, and Bannon and Luke Rutkowski have ragged on the FBI for this, the principal reason dude got caught was because his family turned him in, not because of hardcore groundwork from the feds. I don't think that's fair. I think they worked really hard on this. But it's actually the simple solution. He didn't really know what he was doing. He didn't really plan. He was telling his friends because he didn't know how to react. It's not that planned out. However, I do agree with you that I don't believe a lot of this when they're saying he acted alone. You have messages from people on social media that clearly knew it was going to happen. Yeah. I think he was bragging about it. I think he knew. And then when it came to this Discord stuff, there's a couple potentials. He was talking to people in the Discord he had not previously communicated with. Or it could be that his trans roommate had been saying, hey, he's going to go do it to these people in advance. So then when he came in, there's a lot of ways we can look at it. I do think one of the more interesting conspiracy theories is that the trans roommate is the actual shooter. And this Robinson guy said these things in Discord to intentionally take the fall. Don't know. Still a conspiracy theory. Official reporting is that this guy, in all likelihood, is the person who did it. For all we know, that when they say that, here are people need to consider about online messages as evidence. Social media posts are interesting because they originate from different places and different areas, so that's hard to fake. However, if you live with someone, this is why I find this conspiracy theory interesting. Not that I think it's true, but it is something to consider. The trans roommate is the actual shooter. That's the conspiracy theory. I'm not saying it's true. But how easy would it be for the roommate to go into this guy's room, open his laptop and say, it was me, I did it, and then run to the other room. And then go, oh, I'm so shocked. I can't believe he did it. Look, he said it in Discord. That proves it. And Cash and everybody are like, open and shut case.
And that's why I'm reserving judgment. And I just have lots of questions.
But I mean, they found DNA on the towel that wrapped the gun that matched the shooter.
And that's why I say
nothing to me yet.
And that's why I say, and also considering they said it. I don't know how you prove it to the public, but you trust Cash, right? Mm-hmm. But that's why I say the Israel stuff, the Groyper stuff. It's just like whatever, man. That's so circuitous and goes such a weird path to make true. The trans roommate conspiracy theory is interesting because, of course, they found his DNA. The trans roommate took his towel. I mean, it's just not complicated. Someone you lived with doing it. And they have similar builds and similar appearance, and that's why the conspiracy theory exists. Again, I'm not saying it's true.
Sure. Yeah.
People are going to manipulate you right now with everything they put out. Like we were talking about earlier with that video where you were saying it's not people on the roof. There's other people saying it's a palm gun. Like they're flooding the zone with so much bad information. It's impossible to believe anything.
The one thing I do find interesting is, and this is very difficult, is the 30-06 impact on Charlie. That's a massive bullet.
It's huge.
And so I'm curious what you think, Phil. It's difficult to get into detail, but there have been posts online where they say, how could a 30-06 make this kind of wound? They would have expected some kind of different.
Depends what's in it.
You can look online and see like hunting videos of dudes hunting with 30-06 and when they hit a deer. Like someone was talking about, like it would have blown up his neck and blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, I don't know exactly where these people are getting these ideas, but seriously, you can go to Google or go to YouTube. There's a ton of videos of dudes hunting when even a big bore like a 300 Winchester, like which is bigger than a 30-06, like it doesn't explode.
Well, there's people comparing a watermelon exploding to like
right,
a body.
right.
A watermelon is
they're thinking that will happen to a neck.
Yeah. It's a totally different thing. Like you've got bone, you've got muscles don't react the same way.
Way more dense than a watermelon. mate.
What's crazy to me about this is that this actually is a fairly simple case. There's one of the original videos showing the dude on the roof. It was someone filming during the event going, and you can hear them go, is there a dude on that roof?
Yeah.
So that's why they started filming it.
Yep.
And we got that footage after the fact because they didn't think anything of it until it happened and went, oh, dude, I filmed that. Holy crap. Then there's video footage we've all seen of the dude running across the roof and then climbing down and running away. Yeah. There's the video of the dude walking with a limp, seemingly trying to hide the rifle. I understand it's a little bit more difficult for the FBI to release all of the incriminating evidence because they want to build a case against us, but I think they've been fairly transparent. Here's the sad thing. I've met over the weekend. I talked to a lot of people. I've had people who recognize me. It's about 3 people over the weekend. Ask me if it was real. Not kidding.
Mm-hmm.
They said, "Did that really happen?" And I was like, "Yes." And they're like, "For real?" And I was like, I'm on the phone with friends who are crying their eyes out because their friend died. Yeah, this really happened. But there are people who think it was staged, it was faked. There's people posting these videos where they're arguing that Charlie is still alive. It's just wild.
They're even getting footage of Charlie's body in the casket after the mortuaries covered him in makeup. They're like, his skin's too yellow. People are being weird, and the whole plane thing. You guys hear about the plane? Everyone's like, there's this plane that went to Israel. It's strange, mate. And yeah, especially that mortuary one. People just need to look into it. They cover you in makeup, and your skin changes color, and that's part of the process of embalming, bro.
Apparently, the person who took the private jet flight has issued a big statement, being like, we were taxiing, like it was me and these people. These are the people that were on it. We have nothing to do with anything. Yeah. I think for a lot of people, it's just hard to believe that it was so simple. A radicalized guy penetrated security and ended the life of this giant. I don't think people understand, because I think the reason people want to believe in conspiracy in this story is because it's hard to believe that, one, it's hard for people to believe Charlie is gone, those who actually liked him or cared about him. And for a lot of people, they don't want to believe that any day, at any point, you could be walking down the street, you get on a subway train and sit down while you're on your phone, and a man behind you will jump up and knife you in the neck 3 times. People don't want to believe that's possible. That couldn't happen to Charlie, but it does.
Yep.
And, all right.
Yeah. Also, just one more thing. I just feel like there are also a group of people who don't want to see this investigation end. There are a lot of people who take joy in massacres and just they enjoy the process of figuring it out, and they like to create, like you were talking about with the red string, they like to create these tapestries of ideas and things like that. And to me, I see them, you see them online, they're like, but it's going to be this, it's going to be, I see a lot of people take a good amount of joy in seeing things unfold, and they don't really want the drama to end. And I feel like people forget about people like that a lot. You see them everywhere,
That's a good point.
All right, we're going to go to your Rumble rants and Super Chats, so smash the like button, share the show with everyone, and don't forget that uncensored portion of the show is coming up at 10 o'clock. So go to timcast.com and click Join Us to get in our Discord community. The only way to counter the AI fake video, photo, garbage revolution is to build community with other humans. And it's a start. We're working on our clubhouse and our coffee shop. But for now, Timcast.com, get in that Discord server, hang out with like-minded individuals. There's pre-shows, after-shows, and you can call in and talk to us and our guest. Don't forget that Uncensored Show is Rumble Premium. Use promo code TIM10 and sign up today. All right, what do y'all have to say, my friends? Kremet says, love you, Tim. Thank you for doing what you do. I really do appreciate it. And I will just stress to these leftists who are claiming that the right doesn't fear death, we have very serious security issues all the time. We have security guards frisking people. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Non-stop.
Shane H. Wilder says, thanks to all who joined the X prayer space for Charlie Sunday or listened later. It was worth losing my voice for. Side note, Texans chose a moment of silence for all victims of violence and the floods.
Tim, I'm going to run out and do my show.
Get it.
But I want to say everyone confronted evil this past week.
Yes.
And it was nice to see churches overflowing with people because they couldn't deny the fact that evil is so present in this fallen world.
Yep.
So God bless to all you guys. We'll be at Inverted World Live at 10 o'clock tonight. See you guys later.
And it's time to bring back exorcisms.
Mass exorcisms.
And everyone's response is, Tim, they still do them. I know. I'm saying do more.
Yeah,
Bring 'em
way
back.
more. All right, see you
Get
guys.
these ghouls out of here, mate. Hey, good to meet you, brother.
All right. Shortwave says, with all the violent rhetoric, I would like to ask the guest his views on the amount of drop bear attacks.
Let me guess who you're talking about, mate. You're talking about me. Drop bears only attack tourists, mate. Never seen them. They only attack tourists who drink Fosters, mate, so watch out. Love the drop bears, mate.
I heard you guys don't actually even have Fosters in Australia. Is that true?
That's actually, yeah, it's true. So basically what Fosters is, it's a novelty beer. I don't know if it was a beer that Australians drank originally, but we have state beers. So we have VB. I grew up in Victoria, a small town called Bendigo, country town. You drink VB there. Some places will drink Great Northern. Some places will drink 4X Gold. But there is a beer called Foster's that is renowned across the world for being Australia's beer. Really all it is, it's a tourist beer for British people. There are more people in the UK that drink Foster's and drink it at bars than in the entire of Australia. No one, you don't see it on tap. You don't see it anywhere, mate. So it's all a lie, mate. Don't fall for conspiracy theories.
I love you. I love you, Giordano's, but I'm going to say that about Giordano's in Chicago. Deep dish pizza. You go to the average person who's never been to Chicago or not from Chicago, and they think pizza in Chicago is all deep dish. And they're like, oh, yeah, I don't like Chicago pizza. When in Chicago pizza is actually all tavern pizza. It's all thin.
What's tavern? Is that like the stone oven shit?
No. It's just thin crust that's kind of firm, and it's cut into squares.
I like that. I had that in Chicago when I was there on tour last year. That's what it was.
That's like 99% pizza. But then everyone thinks that Chicago pizza is this big pie because
soupy, saucy thing.
No, it's not necessarily soupy. What they do is the crust is like this tall, and they put a bunch of cheese in it, put dough over the top, and then put sauce on top, and so it's this thick pie, and it's for tourists.
Right. So
Pizzeria.
that's a similar thing then.
Uno's, Pizzeria Uno's. We actually got an Uno's out here. It's delicious. I do like it. But in Chicago, when you're like, let's order a pizza, you're going to get a large, thin crust. Here's the crazy thing. People don't understand. New York pizza, the crust is like lifted up, right? It raises.
Oh, yeah.
You order Papa John's, you get that thick crust on the end.
Doughy.
And then you can stuff it with cheese. Yeah, Chicago pizza can't do that.
Oh.
Chicago pizza crust doesn't rise, and it's as thin as the rest of the crust, and it's like a cracker.
It's like almost like a shortbread. It's like dense.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
See, I think I've had something similar. I was in Chicago. You know, like this is a change of subject. Sorry for anyone who's from Philly, mate. But the only American staple food that I can't bloody do, mate, is that Philly cheesesteak. I love my Philly people. Got a lot of fans in Philly. But seriously, mate, it's like this dinner roll with this meat and some cheese whiz on it, bro. I'm like, America, what?
The cheese whiz is the wrong way to go. There are people in Philly that say
what do they say? Whiz wit.
Yeah, they say whiz. But like, and that's the wrong. You go with the provolone. There, like
Provolone.
some people get. There are people in Philly that will swear up and down that it's not a Philly cheesesteak unless it's cheese whiz. I think that those people are evil. They're the devil, and you shouldn't listen to them.
You're responsible for the fall of
Go with the
society.
provolone. The provolone is delicious.
Provolone's good, mate. We don't have much provolone.
Provolone's a psyop. Stick with the cheese whiz.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
They like psyops.
Controversy.
It's like
mate.
this Fed cheese.
You're not from Philly, are you?
No, but I'm gonna stand up for the Philly heads, Memphis, and we have a lot of
worst
tourist
sorry to
traps
hear that,
there.
mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's but Trump's gonna say
You guys aren't allowed to have cars. They just end up without wheels.
it's true. We're cinder block Americans. over
Usually,
there.
people from Memphis have better opinions than that.
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah,
All right, let's read some
Trump's
more.
Going in.
David Flores says, if you allow your kids to follow destiny, you should be arrested for child abuse.
Facts. That's a great one, mate.
Yeah, yeah. Was it who sent me the messages from his kid?
I did.
Was that was Phil?
What are they? They're
Some tweets from Destiny's kid that just are brutal to see.
Saying he doesn't love his mom or his dad, and he had to raise himself because his dad abandoned him, so he could sext women online.
he sounds like a solid bloke. Yeah, sounds like a good dad. You can judge a man based on how he treats his children.
He's
mate.
got. I mean, the kid's got legitimate grievances. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd be pissed at him if my dad was Destiny. I wouldn't tell anybody.
Not only is his dad Destiny, but Destiny abandoned him. So that
Imagine your dad being the cuck lord Destiny, mate.
Good grief.
But then Destiny abandoning you.
Yeah.
That's just like
It's nuts.
Yeah, that's not
Imagine
a thing.
going to
That,
school.
I can see why you'd be angry.
Yeah. My dad's name is Destiny. Like, what are we doing? Is it a stripper?
It's
like,
Steven.
Oh, yeah, but you know,
That's it.
Even Piers Morgan
he
called
looks
him
like a bit
Destiny.
of a Steven. Steven.
He does look like an
All right, let's go. GI Jeep says, anybody got the number for a good national divorce attorney?
Hello.
Just because I'm free says, remember the polls that said 55% had said they were okay with the killing of Donald Trump? A majority of Democrats are beyond unifying with.
Yep.
fact check. True.
That's true.
JD Vance
There were
here.
signs. There were signs so early on, and I feel foolish for not heeding the signs and really like getting prepared mentally for what was to come. Because we saw death and predictions of death and celebrations of near death for the past.
Luigi was the litmus test.
Oh, that was
the litmus test.
that was the warning. That was like, hello, people are dying.
Yeah.
Misfit Brad says 5150 laws in every state, involuntary commitment to an asylum, because this is literally not reality. These people are out here having full schizophrenic episodes like it's normal, criminal threats too. I agree.
Yeah.
Like, people talk about needing new laws all the time. No, you don't. If somebody is posting online violent threats and they believe things that are objectively false, 5150, they are a threat to themselves and to others, and they clearly are delusional. I asked the mental health professionals on the culture ward, what if someone's delusions aren't rooted in brain dysfunction, but in being told lies? It doesn't matter. It's still called a delusion. It is still diagnosed as delusion. So the only problem with that is the left is going to do it. And I suppose it's fair to say they'll do it anyway. They're going to claim that they've already tried this. There have already been leftists that have claimed that if you're a conservative, you have a mental illness. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the direction they want to go as justification for why they're going to lock you up. Red flag laws.
Yep.
All right. Gaius Macius says there needs to be a deep dive into Twitch.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Well, doesn't Amazon own Twitch?
Do they?
In the U.S.?
I didn't know that.
So we need to hold Amazon accountable for what they're allowing on that platform. Because the people who run it clearly are okay with it.
Yeah.
So everybody, let me say this right now to everybody. They're all like finding these regular people and calling their jobs and getting them fired. Fine, whatever, I don't care. Y'all need to call Amazon, cancel your orders, and stop using it until they force Twitch to course correct. I don't care if these people are allowed to do their thing and say whatever they want to say, not when they advocate for murder.
We're inadvertently funding the whole operation. So to me, I'm just like, I'm going to boycott, mate. That's not even in my nature. I'm usually just like, whatever. But yeah, mate.
Serp says the left canceled NASCAR driver Connor Daly in 2018 after his dad had been found to have, I'm adding that, used a racial slur during a radio interview in the 80s. Now they're shocked they lose their job for cheering an assassination. That's right.
That's a great
That's cancel culture, Tim.
That's inherited guilt, mate. That's inherited. What's that, like inherited cancellation? I don't think I've seen that. That's a rare one. Yeah. Your dad did something in the 80s. Yeah. Therefore, right now, 2018, you said, you're done.
Yeah.
Sailor Motoko says, if you've been paying attention to Candace, you'd see it's because she has lost her effing mind. Mythos says, Tim, Candace Owens has taken so many red pills, she's overdosed. She is bat-ish crazy now.
Dude, your fans are brutal, mate.
Well, I mean, half of them like Candace. I met Candace a couple years ago, went on her show, and I thought she was incredibly intelligent and insightful. I have not watched her show as of recent, so I don't want to say I know exactly what she's saying, nor impugn her honor, because I don't know.
I don't know much.
And that's fair. I didn't watch her video. So I still think my principal critique is the thumbnail saying they're lying about Charlie Kirk with a picture of Netanyahu at a time when there's people trying to claim Israel did it. And I've seen some X posts where the insinuation is that Israel did it, which I think is silly. But, you know, I'm not going to throw away all the work that she's done over one bad video or one video I'm criticizing. But, you know, there you go. I'll take your word for it, I guess. Seraphim says, the CIA and government in general have admitted to experimenting on us. We have no reason to trust the government. You are correct, like in the Bay Area when they sprayed bacteria all over a bunch of people and got them sick. Or how about when Facebook was caught running experiments on the political perceptions of individuals by intentionally putting political ideology in their feeds? We're cooked. That's crazy.
Damn.
Lazy Bone says, the DNA found in the towel that wrapped the gun, but not on the weapon, does not cooperate with FBI, but left a note pre-killing Kirk, which is destroyed after, but able to get fragments giving content. I thought the statement about killing Kirk was on Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, they found so they did a forensic search and found evidence of the statement.
Right.
There's a lot of people that are
real quick. This corroborates the foreknowledge of these individuals on social media. The individual had said that they had a chance to do it and they were going to do it. And wasn't it at didn't they say that message was from a while before Kirk went there, actually?
I don't recall.
You know, it's weird. People look at all these posts and they're like, he had foreknowledge. How did these people know in advance? Then Cash comes out and he's like, he had written a message saying he was going to do it some time ago, deleted it, but we found it. And they're like, nah, this seems too weird. I'm like, no, it actually makes perfect sense.
I was reading somewhere that there are more messages in Discord that the FBI hasn't released and that they haven't made people aware of.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because they want to produce.
They want to build.
They got to go investigate those people in the chat room.
Exactly.
So that means that more information will come. So yeah,
just the tip of the iceberg right now. The building the case and everything.
Your time.
Cool your jets there.
Your time,
guys.
Yeah.
Mythos says, Tim, part of basic training in the USMC is a standing course at 200 meters with iron sights on an M16A2, 5 rounds, 5 minutes. I could hit that shot standing. Any veteran can make that shot in their sleep.
Yeah. It's not a particularly hard shot.
No.
And that's why it's crazy. We've had people come here all frantic, and like, not like, I don't want to say disparagingly, but like excited to be like, and that shot was professional, right? And I'm like, no. I will tell you this right now.
People always say that.
I was like, we can take you out to the range. It's really close. It's literally a 5-minute drive. And you, good sir, who have never fired a gun in your life, you will make that shot with about an hour's practice. I got to be completely honest. They might make it on their first go.
Yep.
Sitting at a table with a bolt action, stabilized, looking through a scope. Now, the response then is, yeah, but how could he have made it if he was scared and nervous, prone, and looking down? I'm like, because he had a month of training?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not before, when he was actually just shooting guns with his parents and stuff, they all say we're conservative and right wing and push all this stuff.
Especially since
He's been around.
these types of people are actually insane, and I don't think they have any kind of. We don't have any right to go. They're probably nervous. I don't think he's going to kill a guy. I don't think he's he's sitting on top of a roof. He's like, I'm a killer guy today. I think he's like, oh, I hope I don't miss. He's just like.
Not only that, but there's what is it? MAOI inhibitors. What do they take? People pop a pill before they're going to go speak because it stops anxiety.
Yeah.
Like beta blockers.
Beta blockers. There you
Beta
go.
blockers.
I call that 3 beers. But I'll let you guys talk about the ballistic stuff. We don't have guns in Australia. They don't let us have anything. So.
Well, I mean, you're a nation of criminals.
Oh yeah, well, of course. You guys are rebels. We're the criminals, mate.
Omega Rosetsu says no fill bullet drop. He was aiming for the face and it went low, and he wasn't using the drop compensator marking on the scope. In fact, the Mauser isn't that accurate with a MOA of 3 out of the box.
And so what an MOA is, 3 MOA is 3 inches at 100 yards. So at 200 yards, it would be a variance of 6 inches. I mean, look, maybe you could be right. I don't know what was in his head. I don't know where he was aiming.
People were saying he likely zeroed at 100 yards, which means the scope was configured to be accurate at 100 yards, and this was 150. So he didn't compensate for bullet drop, which at 150 yards would be 1.5 to 2 inches.
And also, if you're aiming down, there's a variation as to point of aim, point of impact. So there's a bunch of stuff that could go into it. I don't know where he was actually aiming. I'm just
I think it actually
assuming.
makes sense if you were to argue that he wasn't professional, he was amateur because he aimed for the head.
Yeah.
And I think a professional hitman or sniper is going to go chest, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If it's a
Under
pro, and he's got like good equipment, he can decide to put it in his nose if he wants. But if it's a dude with
especially at that range,
yeah, because 200 yards isn't far. But if you're, if you're not a pro, it makes sense that you would be aiming center.
I real quick, I wonder if the people who are saying that have ever been on a football field. Honest question, because like when I watch football games on TV, I was like, it's a big field, wow. And then I got invited to the LA Coliseum, and I went down there. I was like, wow, this is tiny.
Yeah, it's really small. Really small and thin. It's strange, yeah.
I kicked a 30-yard field goal.
Nice.
Hey, congratulations. Yeah,
Well, we all did. Like me and a bunch of guys. I'm not saying we did it right away. We all took a crack at it, and we were all like, we got it.
Yeah. But that's representative of like how little training and stuff it takes to hit the target from
30 yards is not far.
Not let alone a settled weapon that's with a scope and all the attachments that allow it to be super stable.
I was actually surprised when I was on the field that like 30 was a lot shorter than I thought it was.
Yeah.
The TV makes that long, mate. It makes it look long on the football field, but you go there, it's just like, whoa. What's going on?
Actually, this building that we're in, from front to back, is 33 yards.
No way. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we chuck stuff across the building easily. Mm-hmm. It's not very big.
Hey, rugby field's a bit longer than that, brother. Yeah. You're South African, right? Yeah, brother. Come on now.
All right, let's grab some of these super chats over on YouTube. Make sure we get you guys. Joe Spinell says, we shall have peace when the left answer for the sacking of the Westfold and the children that lie there. What is that, a reference to something?
I don't know.
J.D. Vance, probably? I don't know.
J.D. Vance.
All right.
Give him a chance.
Elaine says, ask AI to see if the ADL consider Antifa as left-wing. I have argued with Grok so much about ADL bias and its use as a base for fake stats. And it's really funny, too, because ChatGPT and Grok, like, so obviously lie to you.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. You're like, ask it about George Floyd and then ask about Charlie Kirk, and you're going to be like, why the double standard? Robot? Weird.
You'll be like, you lied, and they're like, yeah, my bad. Sorry about that.
Yeah, dude, they do that, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Here's what you want it to do. Ask it about James O'Keefe, and then ask it about ask ChatGPT about James O'Keefe and Alex Jones. Then ask ChatGPT about how it was accused of goading a teenager into committing suicide, and you will see it reacts like a frantic person who was slighted. It's amazing. It'll be like, Alex Jones was accused of this. That means it's true. And you'll say, well, it's not true. It's just an accusation. I'll say, yeah, well, it was reported as true, so it must be. And I'm speaking figuratively. It'll give you ChatGPT language insinuating truth. Then when you ask it about how it's reported to have goaded a teenager to committing suicide, it will immediately go defensive and say, none of that is true. It was an accusation that has not been proven in court. And so long as it's not been proven in court, you can't act like it's true.
That's freaky, especially since the young generations are becoming more dependent on AI as their Google and just as their general knowledge base. Have you seen like some of these kids at school, apparently, like nowadays teachers, trying to ban ChatGPT because all these kids are just doing all their tests with it.
Oh, it's worse than that.
So, but think about that. You think about all maybe it's bias, maybe it's just errors, I don't know, but just the general backtracking. It feels like a human who's intentionally messing with you. And the kids are looking at that as their truth, The
teachers are actually making the tests on ChatGPT. The students are then using ChatGPT to finish the tests, and the teachers then grade the tests with ChatGPT. So no one is actually learning.
No brains, yeah, man. Well, you look at bro, in Australia, we got newspapers. You can tell. You know how you can tell with the ChatGPT passenger text have those dashes. They got those
M dash.
M dash, dude. Yeah. Who uses that apart from a robot? It's the correct form of grammar. But I've been seeing whole newspapers, especially in my hometown. They be using it. I'm like, so is anybody real anymore? You speak to a journalist. It's like, what do you do? He's like, I'm looking for a job. There's so many journalists out here who got jobs. Real. It's crazy, but ChatGPT, mate, techno overlords.
Let's see what we got. Tessa Lynn says, my center-left son, 32, came kicking and screaming to the right over the progressive response to Charlie's death.
Attaboy.
That's why I was like, maybe Destiny is actually just like a groiper, and it's an act. And the reason why his kid's a groiper is because he raised him to be, and it's all an act. And I'm like, if you want to convince a moderate liberal that the left are liars and evil, all you got to do is show her Destiny's show her or him, and they're going to be like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And so he's like doing a big favor for the right by saying, quote, if you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Trump should not have been president in the second term.
Man, that's a crazy quote.
That's the wildest thing I think I've heard for a while.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. It's just, I don't understand how you could make that in good faith and not expect anything crazy to come from that. I reckon personally, I think he has like a brain problem where he can't think before he speaks. So he does that a lot, dude. He just rattles off, says the quiet part out loud all the time.
You mean spurgs out? Yeah.
Is that what they say? Spurgs out? I spend
what
too
he
much
does.
time touching grass. I don't play video games or nothing. So I don't know what that means.
All right, we'll grab one more. Oops, says Tim, I hear what you were saying about Israel being a red herring in the Kirk assassination, but Candace opened up about how closer her and Charlie were to one another. Quote, we took over 200 flights together. Absolutely fair point. I did not know Charlie that well. I consider him a friend, but I want to stress this. I said every time, it's not like I called him to go golfing or anything like that. I literally texted him a week ago. You know, he had texted me with words of encouragement in the past, and we worked together on certain projects. I knew that I and my team could rely on him and his team, and so I consider him a friend. He wasn't just some guy that I had met one time or anything like that. So I absolutely, again, I want to stress, I like Candace. I don't watch a lot of her show, and I'm careful. I will say, fair point, I'm critical of that thumbnail because it does insinuate that Israel did it or something to that effect, but I didn't watch it, so I'll give her that. But there are certainly many people I would more heavily criticize overtly and easily, but all I can say is that when the interactions I've had with Candace, she's been insightful and intelligent, and if I don't know, I don't want to insult her having not watched her video. That's not fair. Yeah. So I'll put it
after this.
Yeah. But some other people made those posts about Israel that were overt.
Right.
You know. And again, with all due respect to Ian Carroll, I like the guy as well. But I messaged him when he posted that Israel did it. I'm like, come on, bro. All right. We're going to go to the uncensored members only show. So join our Discord server at timcast.com. We want you to join us to be part of this conversation because you can call in and talk to us and our guest. And head over to rumble.com/Timcast IRL. That's where it will be. Join Rumble Premium. Using promo code TIM10, you'll get $10 off. And follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. More importantly, I got a video for you guys. Head over to youtube.com/@TimPool. I put up a video today titled, It's Time to Bring Back Exorcisms. Now, I know they never went away. We've talked about it. It's a half-an-hour video where I talk about my views on demons, possession, evil, a little bit about faith, but why I think demon and possession is real. I do. I believe in God and all that stuff. But that's a video you guys check out and subscribe to that channel. It's just at Tim Pool on YouTube. Yeah, Slow Jack, you want to shout anything out?
Yeah, I got a show on October 17th in Nashville. I make rock music. So if none of you guys know me, that's what I do, mate. I'm not just an Aussie here to be a bit silly. I'm playing at the Cannery Hall, October 17. I hope to see you there. But apart from that, appreciate you guys having me on. It's like my second ever podcast ever, mate.
Hey, there you go.
It's crazy. Yeah. So I'm sitting in here like listening to you guys. I feel like the stooge in the room. Like, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, but it means a lot, guys.
It works out.
I've been a fan for a long time. This is sick. I feel like I'm in a dream, mate.
Hey, you raw
Maybe
dog
it's
did
the
it work
3 hours
out.
of sleep, the 5 a.m. flight, but I feel like I'm like, when will I wake up, mate? You know?
I've been to Australia for a couple tours, and those flights are a killer in the morning.
Oh, mate, those 15 hours. Don't tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can follow me on X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown. Mass exorcisms, I agree. Never surrender. Phil?
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. You can follow us on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
We will see you all at rumble.com/TimcastIRL right now. Give us a few seconds. Thanks for hanging out.